this device move that happened, that he joined instead of me, is not the reason why I hate NIP. I know so many people say that I'm salty that device joined instead of me. That is not the case. He's a better player than me, or he was. He still is probably, but that is not the reason. For everyone keeps typing it all the time when I see this argument. They're like, no, this is not it. But well, what happened was...
Are you tired of your boring old skins? Head to Trade It and trade them for exciting new ones within seconds. With 24/7 support, massive inventory, free giveaways, and low fees. Trade It is the highest rated trading platform in the market. What are you waiting for? Today for a $5 bonus, only on Trade It.
Quickly. Clear. Shoot it.
The world is changing, but one thing remains the same. Victories with 1xBet.
Since the dawn of CSGO, we have been there. Observers of all that competition can reveal. Elation, fear, triumph and heartache reach out from every frame. From the small studios and conference rooms to the epic arenas, the feeling is still the same. We live and breathe this game. This was CSGO Through the Lens. Buy now at HLTV.org/shop.
Okay, just thinking, what would someone say on an intro? Hello and welcome to another episode of HLTV Confirmed Season 6, Episode 100. Is that correct? That's what it says on the website.
I didn't even know it was Season 6, so there you go.
Season 6, Episode 100. It's like The Simpsons now, it just keeps on going. But anyway, welcome back to another episode, everybody. We are in the post-ESL Pro League hangover state right now. Not literally a hangover, just my voice is pretty gruff. We got to do a shout out to the sponsors, of course, 1xBet. Remember to gamble responsibly, and tradeit.gg. If you're in the marketplace for some skins, go and check them out. You can see we have nawwk joining us this evening. nawwk, hello, welcome.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Tonight's going to be pretty conversational, I hope, gentlemen. We've obviously got Prof and Striker as well. Striker, it's sunny. It's sunny outside for everybody. Look at this. Yeah. Spring is beautiful. Spring has sprung. Is everybody happy?
Very happy.
It's insane. I'm in shorts.
Okay.
In Sweden, by the way, not in Croatia, right?
This is correct.
The room's gotten a bit more personality since last time we did one of these, Prof.
Because it's not mine.
Okay, well, all right, fair enough. Well, look, gentlemen, this evening, obviously, we have nawwk as the special guest. We had a lot to talk about him departing Apeks, joining Bleed. That's going to be the headline of the conversation, but we've got ESL Pro League to cap off. We're going to be talking about the recent news, degster to Heroic, Isak joining NIP, HooXi to Miss Dallas. We've got some other bits and bobs with BetBoom Dacha as well. If anyone can explain what a Dacha is, we'll probably cover that off too. But without further ado, let's roll the bumper, let's get into the hot seat, and let's talk to nawwk. All right, well, thank you for joining us tonight, nawwk. Even though we did like a soft intro, I'll say it again because it's been a bit of a tumultuous time. You were just in Melbourne, right?
That's correct.
How was it down there?
That was nice. I like Australia. It's the flight is kind of fucked though. But
the flight is very fucked.
Yeah.
What route did you go by any? Do you remember?
Doha, Melbourne.
Okay.
Back and forth.
That's not too bad. Like it could be worse.
The flight back was delayed, so I missed the connection in Doha. So I had to wait there for like 8 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
It could have been definitely better. All right. Well, look, I don't know where Prof and Striker want to jump off this evening. I guess for those people playing at home, nawwk, Swedish, Orpa, was Apeks, I guess, is the most recent headline. We go back to the Blast Paris Major where you guys had a really good showing. And then after that, everything's kind of fallen apart. So is that where we want to pick it up from, gentlemen?
I think it makes sense. Yeah, I think everyone kind of followed the rise of Apeks, as their vlog is titled as well. But I think the fall has been like, it's kind of been under the radar almost, how it kind of had some decent opportunities, I would say, in like smaller tournaments, and then the big tournaments just didn't kind of fizzled out completely. So, and then, you know, the news came that the team was essentially disbanding, right? I think kind of catching the story there where it actually went wrong, because you guys actually qualified for the major, unlike some other teams, you know, but never really got things clicking. So what went wrong since like the last major till essentially disbanding the team?
For last major, you meant Paris then, or?
No, I mean the
recent one.
Copenhagen, yeah.
I actually don't know. It's so hard to put my finger on, because everything went so well. We qualified pretty easily through the RMR. I mean, we had a pretty easy draw as well. It was OG, Monte, Ecstatic, right? Whatever our wins was. So I'm not really too sure what was happening, but I feel like one of the reasons was our goal was always to just qualify for the major. And I feel like everyone in the team was kind of, all right, we're happy with this. And then after, we kind of stopped the hard work. And then loss after loss after loss, people got into like, you know, just got full depression mode in the team, and it was hard to come back from that.
Well, let me paint a little bit more context maybe for people playing at home as far as the timeline concerned. So you get a top 4 at the Blast Paris Major, then ZywOo gets poached, right? He's gone. You bring Sasanito in. Stop me if I'm wrong here, guys, because my head is a bit everywhere right now, so I might fuck a couple things up. Sasanito comes in, and then kicks and goes later down the track, and then Sense comes in to be the. Well, was he brought in game leading? Or was it Stiko who was doing something? I forget the exact timeline of who was doing that.
He joined as Stiko first instead of Stiko. So
okay.
He wasn't Agile at first. Then he became the Agile after Kixon left.
And there we go. So you had a young buck from the academy team getting promoted, who later down the line was in-game leading. And ever since the major with ZywOo and then Kixon later down the line going, it never really looked like it was clicking perfectly. But you guys were still getting good results, I would say, right? For where the team was considered, you guys were still delivering, putting up decent results. You obviously lost Cuban as well after the major, so you had to change. Well, Mitha was the assistant coach previously, right?
Only in Paris.
Okay, so then Mitha was then...
It was academy.
Okay, and then head coaching since Cuban had gone.
Yeah, correct.
And in that time period between then and now, well, obviously things have changed recently, but before everybody ended up on the bench, Mitha got like a contract extension. You had a contract extension as well, right?
Yeah, we did.
So it's kind of funny with Jacob as well.
Yeah, I don't think it was public. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but he was also signed.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's not no longer active, so I think it's fine.
It is what it is. Yeah.
But like, I think with all of this considered, because for Apeks, the type of Counter-Strike that you guys were playing with the major, when it popped off, it was quite exciting. And then after that, you're trying to piece it back together because you've lost a couple of key pieces and you're still playing a bit of a similar style, still getting like decent results. Like Prof said, you qualified for the next major. So that's a goal that was achieved. You've just said that everybody felt content after that. So I guess this is a strange question, but does it feel like there wasn't belief in the team that you guys were a top squad if you're just content with just qualifying for the major?
Perhaps. Like, our results were a bit up and down, I would say. Like, after Paris, we bombed out of Cologne pretty easily. Then it was Gamers 8, right? We also bombed out instantly. Then it was EPL, I think. We also bombed out, like, lost to 9Z, I think. And I don't know, everything was kind of going downhill there as well. Then we changed the Stiko for the new gun or whatever. And then I think we had, I don't remember, was it Elisa after that instantly?
It was like Atlanta or something, no? But before that, or
Elisa was first, then it was Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
So I was, that. Then it went very good. Then we had rumors that Kixon might leave, also a very turbulent period. And we got 2 grand finals in a row. I actually don't know. I think one of the reasons as well why we were doing so good there is that we actually brought in a sports psychologist. Mia she was industrialist in there back in the day for the Atlanta thing. that helped us a lot because we were all very emotional and mental players in that as well. And then after the RMR also, she left. So I guess that might have been a reason. I'm not too sure. It's hard to put my finger on.
I mean, it seems like it's always been kind of like as a result of just tumultuous changes in the team. I mean, JL leaves, Cuban leaves. Right after that, you had those 3 bomb outs you were talking about, you know. Then again, the same thing happens just as it seems like you're kind of getting back on track with the new roster towards the end of the year. I think you had there was second places both, right, in Atlanta and before that in Elisa. So, like, does it just feel like it was always the poachings that just threw everything into disarray?
A little bit, I would say so. I think the 5 at the Paris major, if we would have stayed together, we could have became like I don't want to say like best in the world, but you know, we could be a consistent maybe top 7 team, top 8, something like that. I feel like everything clicked so well, especially with Cuban's playstyle. You know, they spread out that I know some of you guys hate. It was at least in the recent times, that was also one of the problems because me and Jaken, for example, we really liked that playstyle, so we tried to force it onto the new players and the new coach, you know, and it's pretty hard because we kind of knew how to play it, but we didn't really know how to explain it in a way. So kind of hard as well when you bring a new IGL, right? Like a young IGL that doesn't even have his own identity, and then you try to force the identity on him, while maybe the coach want another style, and then it kind of clashes. So I don't know. I wouldn't say it was anybody's fault. It was just like unfortunate what happened, to be honest.
Yeah. I think in like Sticko's video that he put out like after, I think he benched himself, he made the video, uploaded it, and then like 5 minutes later, they announced that like the whole team is kind of going separate ways, right? But he spoke a bit about, I don't want to say role clashes, but like essentially like kind of these, I would say disagreements on like how to play early round, how to play like late rounds and stuff like that. So I guess that combined with a new coach and that super unexperienced IGL is kind of it just does sound like a recipe for disaster, to be honest. Like if you made it work, it would be more of a surprise than if it didn't work, to be honest.
Exactly. I mean, we did have some decent like results, right? We did Katowice, we got to the group stage, was okay, I would say. We almost beat Navi there as well, was close. And yeah, and RMR, but then after that it was just downhill. There was no saving that.
So I'm just looking at it now. nawwk renews deal with Apeks until 2026, and that was December. So, right, where, Jesus Christ, the year is fucking flying away, isn't it? It felt like December was just yesterday. Okay, so you extended in December. At that point, I guess you wouldn't have renewed the contract if you didn't have the type of concerns that you guys grew later down the track, right? So a lot changed within the first 5 months of the year.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. No, after you. Sorry, mate.
No, I it's true. I don't know what happened. Like, but it's like I said, we also had a good period at the start of the year, right? Like, this Katowice run was good. The RMR was good. Then his major was really bad. I feel like Jaken was the only one that performed. Everyone played really bad individually. So yeah, it was. I don't know. Jaken was the only one doing something in the team this last couple of 5 months, I would say. 4 months. So it is what it is.
Yeah, for me watching, I think it was kind of tough because you could see that the team, you know, had good players with output. And Sense was definitely trying in that leadership role. He would try and get loud, but again, he's just so young and inexperienced. You look at it. I don't want to say it seems disingenuous because it definitely isn't. But it doesn't feel like it would inspire the rest of the team. Like it felt like that kind of needed to come from you guys, but it was coming from the new kid who was also doing the in-game leading. And then Sasanito had been in the team for, I don't know, the better part of a year by this point, I would imagine, right? So also with him, he was meant to be, I think, a bit more impactful. But with the type of play style you guys had, his lurks always felt quite late, or like the not taking enough. And I don't know, it was strange watching you guys play once it got to the higher tier games, but you guys would still get these decent results. So, all right, I don't know if we want to fast forward or if we want to. Yeah.
I want to just mention one thing because the Elisa tournament where you finished second, you picked up the MVP. How did that feel? Like, obviously you didn't win the tournament, but as a like individual accolade for your career, how does that rank?
I mean, of course it felt good after it happened, the tournament. Like, I actually felt really good doing something good, consistent. I feel like consistency has always been a talk about my career. It's been going better in Apeks for sure, and hopefully we'll continue like this. But no, it just felt good. But about that tournament, well, I just felt like we should have won it. Like I think the nerves got to everyone in the final. To be honest, we beat Fury in the group stage, and then we struggle in the best of 5. Like unlucky, but it is what it is.
So after the major, and some of your other teammates, so JL especially, he's getting other offers. Did you have any other offers around that time?
I think I had some, not WoW, but no reason to leave Apeks. I can say that much.
Okay, and then
I mean, around the time, like I guess before you renewed, there's the whole kind of rumor about the Swedish. I don't want to call it Swedish super team, but like a Swedish team. That was I don't know if Sweden can make a super team if they have all the best players even together. But there are some talks, some like Roland Hampus, nawwk, a few other players, and maybe Exist as a coach. There's some talk about like that coming together. But from what I know, like there's no org until it was kind of too late, right, to do something like this. If this is correct.
There was an org, and we were in the talks with an org. I don't want to say what org. I don't want to go too deep into it. But there was talk. It was close. But then they pulled out kind of last second. And when they pulled out, that was just I resigned with Apeks. That's pretty much how it went down.
I mean, that would have been with a bunch of buyouts, right? So for everybody involved. I don't know if you want to say the roster or at least paint the picture of what it was supposed to be.
It was me, Hampus, Isak, Nilo, and Plopsky, I think.
Right.
That was the lineup, as far as I remember.
Do you know why they pulled out? Was it just because the money involved, or?
It was money involved, yeah. It was the buyers were too much, I think. First they said like, yeah, the buyers is fine, we'll pay it, but then they were like, no, it's too much. So I don't know what happened, but.
I know. The rumors about just like Hampus and then Roland later. I guess the buyout for MOUZ was pretty insane. Pretty big numbers were floating around, but at the same time, kind of makes sense. You don't want to really, as an IP, help someone else build the best Swedish team. Like even like getting money is nice, but then losing your identity completely is kind of it's a tricky thing. So you do want to make that buyout as big as possible, but kind of sad in one hand, and on the other hand, it is what it is. You kind of you have reunited with not reunited. Actually, yeah, you played with Campus back in the day in GamerLegion 100 years ago. It felt
100 years ago.
And an IP, right?
And and an IP as well. In that, there are so many players in an IP. I don't know if yours like are aligned, but how does going just to the bleed thing? How did that come about?
I don't know exactly. I have my agent talking usually, but I know that Jod was always in close contact with Kasad, right? They've always been good friends, and I think on paper it kind of made sense. I know they talked, and it happened so fast. I feel like, but I really feel like this was a good move for both of us.
Well, it's not a fresh start necessarily because the two of you are still together, and like you said, Jacob has a bit of a relationship with Kasad as well. It is I think, like if we're stepping back from a community perspective and looking at it from Bleed, this is what was, I don't want to say prophesized, or striker. But in the sense that, we knew that Kasad would try and make moves when possible. But this one here, like, this is the thing. I know you can't really talk about this, nawwk, but if Jacob had a contract extension and you had a contract extension, I feel like it would have been very expensive and like I could be really wrong. Like I'm having a stab in the dark. Striker, I'm looking at you here. Does that make sense that it would be really expensive to get them?
It seems very reasonable to assume, yes.
Okay.
But then again, though, like if they put us on transfer list, they kind of want us out, right? So
right.
You can also think like that.
Okay.
Was it always like that? Like from the organization? I don't know how much you can talk about, like how the organization has spoken to you about this situation, but was it always going to be a top to bottom, like completely out with this current roster and let's just try to get some new pieces? Was there ever talk that they might build around some other pieces like JKM and yourself, for example? I mean, you were long-term the best performers and all of that. So was there ever a situation where it could have been like a core staying or a couple of players staying and then building around them?
Not as far as I know. I didn't have any talks like that. I think they just wanted a new, like completely fresh start, which is fair enough for them.
Okay.
I think when I'm looking at the other players you've got on Bleed here. So it's Fave and Cypher, and then obviously reuniting with Hampus, Casada's the coach, and their results have actually been looking up like better than how it started for Bleed. You've gone from actually, would you guys have still? Oh wait, what's the go with the major rule? You guys still would have had the core from the previous major, right? Where would that have put you? Straight into RMRs? Yeah. So now it's, I guess rebuilding, but it's because of a long runway. Was that ever a consideration, right? Thinking, oh, we could stick with Apeks and just try and keep 3 and like, because you and Jacob, I feel, were the 2 of the strongest pieces over there at Apeks. Like you two couldn't have a lot of say on how you wanted to influence the org, or you just thought, fuck it, we got to get out.
I mean, I don't know. There was a lot of talks with disagreements sometimes in the org about what they want and what we want, right? And then there's always a money question, like sometimes it's hard to get new pieces. Like, for example, when we did this move when HooXi was gone, like, sure, you can pick up an IGL, but what IGLs are available? Like, who can you get? Like, there's not some wow pieces on the market, I would say.
Yeah, okay.
Personally. So it's always that, like picking up a new IGL, new players it's always a gamble. So I don't know what to say, to be honest. But I don't think about the RMR spot. I don't think so, right? Because we just got to the first stage. So you don't get RMR spot, do you?
Oh yeah, you have to be top 16, right?
You
There would be like close
qualifier.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, okay. So
I was going to say, like, maybe like a few months down the line when it looks like, Bleed is struggling, they're just going to get Sticko in and just get that core.
Imagine.
Get that core back so
Holy
that they
shit.
can skip the first 2 stages of the qualifier or whatever.
I mean, it worked before,
Yeah, I've done it before.
No,
so-
but that's...
yeah, sorry, Prof.
No, go for it. Go for it.
I was going to say, okay, so if we look at Bleed and we look, what the future may hold in terms of like competitions and everything coming up, what's next? Like, I guess a lot of practice. Are there any events that you guys have? Is it a lot of online stuff?
We're playing online tournament on Wednesday, I think.
To the
Then
CCT?
Yeah, and then we're traveling to Mongolia, this Mongolian tournament. I don't know what it's called, but is it in 2 weeks?
Something
Something like that?
Nomadic Masters, whatever, right?
Yeah, exactly. We're traveling there.
The what? How have I missed this? There's a
That's
tournament
like a
in Mongolia?
smaller Mongolian tournament,
Yeah,
with like some decent teams. There's like Mongols, Gaming Gladiators,
Mesa.
or OG, Linvision, Bleeds,
Yeah.
Chinggis Warriors, the return of Zilkenberg,
Oh, he's
and then
back.
some other Mongolian team, I think.
Is Machine Gun there? You get me really excited if you tell me Machine Gun's there.
No, unless he qualifies through the other Mongolian tournament or whatever, he's not there at the moment.
Okay, that's a little bit sad. Okay, so there's at least some stuff coming up.
Would you make it out if you was there? Would you do a little trip?
What, me?
Yeah,
No, I think what in a couple of weeks' time I might be in Dallas, I think.
I feel like.
Well,
Not
they
that
needed some
dedicated.
casters. They needed some casters, I heard. So
Oh shit.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Wow. I guess you got to slip
Maybe you
into
can
the
do a remote.
remote. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I wonder what the time zone would be like. I guess it's probably GMT +8. That'd be fucking crazy. Be real early in the morning. Probably no sleep. I would imagine going on there. All
Yeah.
right. So
I
let's.
just wanted to ask, like, I don't know if I zoned out for a second if we asked this question, but like, what was the main attraction to Bleed for you? You kind of mentioned like IGLing, not being a lot of IGLs on the market. Was like Hampus the main reason for you to go to Bleed?
he was sure one of the attractions. Like I played with Hampus before. I know how he calls. I enjoy his calling. Then it was also like going with Jakem. I would really like to continue playing with Jakem. So that was also one of the reasons. And then I've heard a lot of good stuff about how Kassad thinks about the game. So that was also like one of the reasons. And I don't know, you have like, I don't know, I think it's a good lineup. Like Cypher, like his aim is insane. He's a good player. He's British though, which is it is what it is, But and then Faven as well, a good piece. Like it's on paper it should work, in my opinion.
Okay. And you and Hampus can, not only reunite but continue to bond over your seething hatred for NIP.
Yeah, correct.
So is that fair to assume that if there was ever an offer from NIP in the future, because at the moment they've got 3 Swedes, right? They've got 3
Their
Swedes.
offer is
over there.
not Swedish.
That's exactly. The wrinkle's pretty good, but this is what I'm saying. Like in the future, if there was ever an offer from NIP, would you go back there, or is it just like fuck them? They're dogs. I'm not putting words in your mouth there. I'm just speculating.
I think I've been asked this question like 100 times now, but no, I would not go back.
Okay. Well,
He still has this. He still has the tweet pinned, man, from like a year
Yeah.
ago when he beat that.
Of course.
all right, well, look, everybody needs like an arch nemesis, and an organization is probably a pretty good one to have. I'm just Karma sure does exist. GG. Oh, fucking hell.
Actually, I think it's a good moment to actually. Can you give a bit more context why this is a thing? Because I feel like, a lot of people know, but a lot of people also don't know, and this is a great opportunity to hear from you, why, what is the bad blood between you and NIP?
Okay. First of all, I want to state that this device move that happened, that he joined instead of me, is not the reason why I hate NIP. I know so many people say that I'm salty that device joined instead of me. That is not the case. He's a better player than me, or he still is probably, but that is not the reason. For everyone keeps typing it all the time when I see this argument. They're like, no, this is not it. But well, what happened was 2020, right? There was supposed to be a Rio major, I believe. And then Valve put out team stickers for the teams, right? Because there was no player stickers because there was no major. And shortly said I should have that money stated in the contract, but I did not get it. And as far as I know, they haven't paid back any NIP players. And some people are okay with it. Some people, I don't know if they trying to stay friends with NIP so they could join later down the line. But I'm just saying my words and what I think is right. Because if they steal money, then they should at least get some shit back from me at least.
Okay, so it's over the sticker money back with the major that never happened. I think I remember there's been some talk about this. I think the funny thing is people actually writing what you said, about the device situation. We would always frame it when we spoke about it. It was they knocked on the door. They're like, "Hey, Nork, we're getting device," and you'd be like, "Yeah, all right, fair enough."
You
that's
said
the way.
You literally said that though. I remember the stream right after device was announced. You were like, "Yeah, fair enough." What the fuck am I supposed to do there?
For sure. Nothing to say.
And everything went to shit for them with the move anyway. So it feels like it's always been heading downhill for them. It is just a bit of a shame, right? I guess for you as a Swede, right, to see NIP, well, I guess they have 3 Swedes now, but and you have the chip on the shoulder, rightfully so. So you're probably happy to see them really struggling. But Fnatic as well, right? Two orgs that throughout Counter-Strike have been leading the charge for Sweden, and now you guys don't even have a flagship team. There was some rumors about you with, was it Metasport? But they just came from nowhere, or were you in talk with them at all?
That was source. I made it up. I don't know. I don't know what that was, to be honest.
Okay.
There was no talks.
Prof, you're in Sweden. Did you hear anything on the streets?
No, nothing about this. I don't know. They are making changes, but they didn't bench Jaquinho, who is the upper, so it doesn't really make a lot of sense in any ways. But would be. I think it's one of these, as you said, source trust me, bro. It's this kind of feels like it could happen. Literally, if I talk to my friends and then they try to put 2 and 2 together, honestly, half the time it is correct, but half the time is completely not correct. It never happened. So this is an example of this. I feel just would be nice if they had a tier 1 upper, in this team, but no. I wanted to ask one thing though, just going back to NIP, not as an org, but back to that time, 2020-ish, when you played in that lineup. You came in as an opper, but there was this whole period of you kind of opping, kind of not opping. And I was like, what is happening with this guy? And I feel until Apeks, you're kind of almost lost. And then that Paris major is oh, fuck, this guy can op really good, especially late round clutching and stuff like this. What happened in that time, and how did you rediscover your form, I would say?
I mean, first of all, I was brought in NIP to rifle in the beginning.
Okay.
They had twist opping, right?
Yeah.
So then they brought me in. I was first time rifling. I never rifled before. They brought me in NIP as rifler. Maybe not the best decision to say yes to that, but I think I did all right. And then I remember during the summer break, I was gonna get swapped to the op role finally during the play break. And I remember I had this conversation with the NIP legend. You probably know who it is. I'm not gonna say any names, but and we were talking about HLTV ratings, and he compared my ratings from the GamerLegion days, opping, to my rifling days in NIP versus tier 1 opposition. And I think it was in GamerLegion I had 1.15, and rifling in NIP had 1.09. And he asked why it went so bad and that I need to perform better. That was pretty funny, I think.
That's unbelievable. That's honestly unbelievable.
And was that did that mean you're not gonna get the op because of it, or how did that pan out?
No, I got the op like during the summer break, right? I become the opper and then Twist went into more like supportive role. But like doesn't understand CS at all. Like it's crazy to me. Like insanity. People that run that shit. I'm gonna be honest. Holy shit.
It was wild there for a while. Like I don't know. They're saying it's different now. Maybe it'll be different now.
I was going to ask about that. How much do you think things have changed in an IP? Because Jonas Gunderson is now out very quickly. It seemed very sudden. What do you think?
I mean, if I'm gonna be honest, I don't think so. And I think NIP is just cursed. Like every player that joins NIP is just getting worse. Like, and that's the truth. Like, it's what it is. You're cursed in NIP. And and I don't know, they still have the same owners, right? So how much will change? You know?
It's like voodoo. It's not magic anymore. It's and they can't escape it. Well, we'll have to see, right? Like well, you're right. It is still the same ownership, so we'll have to see what comes out of all of that. All right.
Maybe it's all Rez's fault, man. Like he's been there this whole time.
It's 2017.
That's just the problem, bro.
3 more years.
I'm actually shocked that he is like, not only is he still there, but he did not like take time off or anything during all of this. Like how?
Oh, he didn't go to Pro League. That's 3 weeks.
That is true. He did. It happened. I mean, his health literally deteriorated from being in an IP for so long.
Yeah.
It's a joke. I hope it's not something serious anyway. But pretty rough times. Rough times over there. I mean, the little guy, what's his name? Headtrick just won a tournament.
The little guy.
I mean, he's literally
guy.
It's a perfect description of Headtrick.
I didn't know where you were going with that.
Him and Config together were just like the best duo ever. I have this huge dude and this little guy. They're
little
really
guy.
nice.
All right, let's jump into Skinionaire. Let's get the quiz done, and then we can quiz nawwk more throughout the evening about all things Counter-Strike and see where we find ourselves. All right, nawwk, you've seen what we do here before with Who Wants to Be a Skinionaire?
Yep.
5 questions, multiple choice. You can have Striker as an assistant if you need some help. What's the theme tonight, Prof?
Oh,
is there a theme? Could be themeless.
I think it's some teammates and stuff. I think that's
okay. So it's nawwk themed.
Yeah, it's like bleed theme, I think.
Okay, all right. Well, if people in chat want to get involved, type trader in chat right now. That'll be your raffle ticket. Depending on how many questions nawwk gets right, you could get your hands on a $50 voucher to use at trader.gg.
Yeah. I think it also starts with like kind of a tricky question.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. nawwk, you ready to tackle this?
I'm ready.
All right, let's do it. Question number 1. Who is the only poser in the current bleed roster? Kassad, nawwk, or Hampus?
Well, it's Hampus Poser, the legend.
Okay, we'll lock in C, Hampus.
Is this Dimitri who made these questions? It must have been, right? That's a good question. I love it.
Okay, all right. Well, that could have gone anywhere because it definitely threw me for a bit of a loop. All right, question number 2. Which of these did Kassad not coach? Cloud9, FaZe, or MOUZ?
Ooh. This is kind of a hard one.
This is ancient history needs to come into play for this one, nawwk.
I know that's Cloud9, right? One of the options. I know he coached Cloud9.
The Juggernaut.
Yeah, the Juggernaut.
He coached Nico.
I was gonna say the same thing as a tip, but it doesn't help
him at all.
I mean, gotta be FaZe, right?
Striker, do you want to give him an assist here?
Yeah, he did not coach FaZe.
No.
Yeah,
what were you doing in 2016, nawwk?
Playing pugs, probably, I think.
Okay.
Most likely. Grinding.
Because what are you,
No,
26
but he clicked
now?
the wrong thing.
I clicked MOUZ.
Yeah,
Oh, did he
but
not
said-
coach? Yeah, I should have clicked FaZe. That's my bad.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll give it that one. Move it up. I clicked the wrong thing. I can't fucking read. You would have been 18 then, right? You're 26 now? Pretty sure that works.
Yeah,
Did I do-
most
did I do
likely,
maths
probably.
right? Yeah, well, that's when Kassad coached MOUZ Sports. After iNation, then he coached MOUZ Sports. And then he coached Renegade. So it really just went up.
There's
for
also
Kassad from
Team
there.
Wolf there.
Team Wolf, that's right. He did the Indian team in the major.
Yeah.
So
in 2014, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2014.
Yeah, it was
the
when
one
the
in Gamescom.
it was the circular stickers. So yes, it was Cologne.
That's how you remember?
Yeah.
Jesus fuck.
Because Katowice 2014 was the best stickers of all time. All right, let's get into question number 3. Under which org Jacob played for a Norwegian lineup in 2014-2015? LGB, London Conspiracy, or Nordavind?
Talking about 2014 Katowice stickers.
There it
I
is
feel like I
again.
should know this, right? I'm pretty sure this is London conspiracy. Pretty sure. Could be that. I'm locking it in.
I'm also pretty sure, but also had the question.
I've clicked on the long. Right there we go. I found it. All right, locking in B. London conspiracy. Correct answer is LGP.
Okay.
Oh,
Striker, you let him down there, mate.
I honestly
That's the
was
name.
not sure between them 100%.
Striker, the name
but,
is London conspiracy. I'm going to put you on, Grill.
but they
here.
did have a Norwegian team.
But he played in London conspiracy, right? Surely. I think. Did he? Can
I'm-
someone confirm?
Think so. I can check right now.
He did not. It was just LGB.
Wait,
He
so
played
who
in
played in
Norway.
London conspiracy?
Polly,
Rain.
Oh, Paul.
Rain,
Yeah.
Oh,
Paul,
Ruby.
I
all
got
these
it
guys.
wrong.
I thought that was that team as well.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Oh well, oh well.
All right. Well, we'll blame Striker for that one. That's all right. He can take it. All right. Question number 4. Who has more major appearances, Jacob or the rest of Bleed roster combined? Holy shit. Holy shit. How many majors have you been to, Nork?
2.
Okay, so you've been to 2. Cypher's been to 1.
Hampus has been to what, 3?
Korea.
Okay. So
Jacob's
we're
been
up
to a lot. I
6.
mean,
how
he
many's
was
Faven
in-
been to?
Probably 0, if I'm completely.
I think
I don't even know.
maybe
but-
1. Who knows?
Did Faven even... This is a fucking tough
I mean,
question.
could be Jacob having more, but I'm not sure.
He
Can't
was at
really
a-
go up to because he was like Cluj 2015 was in G2 right at the time.
He did like 2
Before.
or 3 with Renegades.
Renegades.
Yeah,
He
after
did like
that.
2 with Apeks.
2. It gotta be Jacob, I think. I think so.
All right. Well, this one's fucking tough. Let's lock in
I-
A, Jacob. We'll
I
see
hope
what
for
the
the
answer is. Correct answer, Jacob. Holy shit.
Let's go.
That's a pretty sick
Stuff.
stat.
Yeah. He's
Considering
old.
like you actually
Old
have
man.
some, considering you have some like experienced names, on your team, that's kind of crazy.
Oh dear. Oh, some people are asking, what about Kassad? Well, I guess he's not in the server, is he, everybody? All right, question number 5. Which football player did Bleed lose a map to? I'm not going to be able to pronounce these.
Yushchenko, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Was he playing for, was it Bait? No.
Yeah.
Was it Bait?
No, it wasn't Bait,
I was
it's
No,
Passions.
not the base.
right?
Yeah.
Passions.
Passion UA
That's
is
the
the,
one.
is the team.
Yeah, that was a fun game of Counter-Strike to watch with that in
Yes.
play.
It was pretty funny seeing it on Reddit Arsenal being like,
Oh, really?
Zinchenko is playing Counter-Strike and winning.
Oh.
it was kind of a bad look, I have to say, for like professional players that like some footballer can like win a map actually.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I guess he plays a lot of CS as well as football. All right, we got 4 out of 5 correct here. Lock this one in, Lucas. Bang. All right, 4 out of 5. That ain't bad. That's a $15 skin to one lucky user in chat right now. Our people reach out to your people. Lucas is going to draw the winner. The winner is, drum roll, please, DRL Miguel. DRL Miguel. We'll send you a message. All right, that's Who Wants to Be a Skinionaire brought to you by Trader. Have you pracked with Bleed yet, Noel?
Yeah. This was
How
my
many
second
days have
day.
you had to prac?
Second day today. So
Okay.
2 days.
So what's the prac schedule looking like?
It's pretty hectic, but
Yeah?
it's good. It's good. Tough to learn all the new utility and all the new tactics and try to fit right in, but we're doing our best.
So you're going in and playing the style they were before. You and Jacob are going to bring what you bring later down the track, and it's kind of just picking up where they left off with
Yeah.
Cirque and
Yeah, exactly. It's trying to learn their way of playing, and then we'll fit our ways in later, trying to mesh it together.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
seems like Jacob is a little bit more of a space taker than at least from memory than Vladen was, right? Like he was pretty aggressive. He was like kind of bitchy roles, but Jacob likes to take fights.
He
So I
loves
feel
to
like
get
there's got to be exactly.
Yeah.
There's got to be some changes, no?
Yeah. I mean, it's role clashing a little bit with Cypher. Jacob took some new positions, but so far it's been working out, I would say. You can't teach an old dog how to sit right or whatever they say, but he's doing all right. He will do it.
So that's
Weren't you-
interesting. Sorry, Prof.
I wanted to ask like a kind of not connected question, so you can go first.
So I just wanted to dive in a little bit more about like the prac. You said it's hectic, like, but what time are you guys starting? Because in Europe, you guys can actually start practice at a reasonable hour of the day, can't you? Like 10 a.m. in the morning, 11 a.m.
Yeah, I think we're starting 10:45 now. I think
Okay.
It's not too
Alright.
bad. Like it's not that hectic, to be honest. It's just that feeling a lot on the server now when it's a new team and you just want to play as much as possible. So
Yeah, got that hunger for
it's
sure.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that you brought up something that is quite interesting here because of the aggressive nature of Cypher and Jacob. I always label Jacob as like a player's player, someone that everybody wants to play with because he's always going to do the right thing. He'll swing when he has to swing. He's never going to bait. He wants to get stuck in. He's that type of guy. He's not the type of player sitting there thinking, fuck, this guy's just walking around the map doing nothing. Like, he's not wasting anybody's time. So,
that's true. Like, I don't remember a single time thinking, like, why is he doing this? Like, even I saw a bunch of Apeks 1v4s in the last few days when he's just like, can he just please die so we can like move on with the rounds? But like, I don't remember ever thinking that of Jacob. The question that I wanted to ask is, joining a new team, what's your like least and most favorite thing about the process that you need to go through now?
I mean, the favorite part is probably just like joining a new team and see how it feels, new org, new teammates, get to know everyone. It's always fun, I would say. The most negative is maybe learning a new playstyle, so to speak. It's not always the most fun. It could be fun, but it could also be kind of tough. So,
I mean, is it a lot of theory
getting owned in the process is never fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But one positive is like we have a lot of aggressive players in the team, right? It kind of fits me. I'm more of a passive opper, so they open up space for me, which is kind of good, I would say.
Okay.
Nice. I would say in Apeks, for example, during the late period, Jacob was the only aggressive one, and it becomes kind of like he's the only one swinging, and no one else is swinging, and it makes it hard for everyone.
Yeah, I think I definitely noted that in watching you guys play. Like it would, and Sense would try, but it was just a bit tough. All right. Well, should we move on with the show? And if anything comes up that we want to ask Nawwk about relating to Apeks or Bleed Up, we can always pivot in that direction as we go. Is everyone happy with that?
Yep.
All right, cool.
Go.
So we're going to jump into some of the recent news. The Heroic news essentially broke while Heroic was still at EPL. So you never like to see that happen because it's going to essentially completely undermine the results for the team from that point on. So during EPL, there was the rumor starting to circulate about degster joining in replace of Nikodos. And to be fair, I think if that had come out after, I wouldn't have such a with it. But the problem is, like, I understand teams are on timelines and they have to make these decisions, but it kind of seems like that decision was already happening during EPL, which just sucks for them to not be able to go out there and give it their all without the distractions. I think
it's always going to happen that way. Like there's no period where you can just like wait until the tournament is over to start negotiations, even though you're going to replace the player. Like it is impossible to, like, in the current schedule, especially.
I think we can tackle this from probably a multitude of different angles. So let's just start with degster himself coming into the team. Nawwk, you just said you're quite a passive AWPer. I would always look at degster as the opposite, someone who's quite aggressive, wants to make a lot of plays. So how do you think an individual like him fits into a team like Heroic?
It'll definitely be an upgrade. I think degster is a really good individual. The only downside I can see was so long ago I saw him on the server. I don't know how long it's been now. It's been like a year at least.
Yeah.
And it's CS2, new game as well, so we'll never know how he'll perform now. But if I know his mindset and the way he grinds the game, I think he will be fine.
He's only 22.
Yeah.
Which surprises me just to hear that he's only that young but I guess really we only had him on our screens for a couple of years.
2 years, yeah, pretty much, like a year in Spirit, a year in OG.
Yeah. Does anybody in Twitch chat have his face a profile link? Because we can see how much he's been playing over there. I guess that's probably...
I mean, he also had his like health issues, right? He had like a surgery that he had to undergo. So like there was a period where he had to take a break. Yeah, I'm very curious about how that's going to go, just because like you're away for a year. In the middle of that, a new game comes and you haven't really had a chance to actually play it with a team. And that's always going to be different, even versus FaZe and all that stuff. Like if you're just missing the boat and then you're just not up to date on the meta. I am curious about it. I mean, I talked to him. There's going to be an interview coming out in, I don't know, probably in the next half an hour or so.
Okay.
And that was like, even he seems like he's not 100% sure like how it's going to go. Like he doesn't have big expectations of like how it's going to go from the beginning and how much he's caught up to the meta and stuff like that. But he seems confident that he's watched enough CS and to understand like how the meta's changed and all that. So I guess we'll see in a
Surely
couple of
they would
days
have
time.
trialed him, right? Like, was that discussed? Like, was there a trial period?
He didn't want to
anything?
say. I asked him if they played together at all, and then he didn't say. So I'm not 100% sure. But I mean, it seems like you'd be crazy not to see how he plays. Like realistically, like there's no way you're just gonna go like off of what he did a year ago in a different version of the game. You know, like it would seem crazy to me if they didn't practice.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that is interesting. I guess with this interview coming out, we'll be able to dig in a little bit more to what he had to say about that. But Prof, you see this move happening. What are your initial thoughts?
Risky but good.
Risky but good. A necessary risk.
Yeah, I would say so.
Because
like,
Heroic have been on a downslide.
It's not. Well, I don't know the details like financial, but I don't think it was a super expensive move.
It could not have been. Like after a year of the guy being on the bench, like no way.
Yeah, I don't know how long his contract was, or like how was it even legal to be on a bench for a year, but somehow it did happen. So I think it's not expensive, therefore it's a good thing to try out. It's definitely a very different player to Nico does. So kind of a, I would say, new breath of life. I think one thing also that they needed is just like more voices probably on the team with like, I think that's something like Nerds.
I'm not so sure that's actually true, man. Like if you consider like
Nerds talk a lot.
I'd say Nerds talks a lot. Kixen is obviously going to be the IGL, so he's going to be pretty vocal. And it's like that's isn't like HooXi is a calm guy, but he also I think has a lot of input from like interviews I've done with Kaden and all that stuff. Like there was always like a lot of input from all sides, like in Heroic, even though like Kaden did a lot of micromanaging. So I don't know like if they necessarily needed a big voice.
I do know that degster copped a bit on the way out the door from the Spirit camp, right?
I mean, OG as well. Like there's been a lot of kind of reputation following him around. Yeah, exactly. I mean, and it's both kind of the same, coming from the same place, it felt like, because it was Spirit who said something along the lines of like that they wanted to play a certain way, and Degster just wanted to play like for himself and like a lot around him for the team to set up around him. And then Nexa said pretty much pound for pound exactly the same thing, where like difficult to work with, like too much of an ego. He just always wants like his stats come at the expense of other people. I tried to ask him about that. There was kind of like sort of an answer about that, and he basically said along the lines that like he will never ask the team just to play for him. And I'm not sure if he meant it in a way where like he learned from his past. He kind of skirted around the issue, and I'm curious if that's what he meant. And he said basically like that he's not going to do it. He will not do it from here. So I'm curious about if that's going to change. And I'm sure that that's something that Heroic must have gone into and like figured out, talked to him about if that was going to be an issue, just because this is a reputation that's followed him around from two different teams now for a couple of years. So that's got to be a concern, right?
At least from some degree, for sure. Nawwk, your experience playing with Kixen as an in-game leader, how do you think he would deal with well, first of all, you said you're a passive AWPer, right? Nikodos, I don't want to slander the man's name or anything, but he was better on the rifle than he was on the AWP. Now you bring an aggressive AWPer in like degster to the mix, and then with the personality stuff we're talking about, does Kixen, have the authority to deal with someone who might be, a little bit much? What do you think about it from that angle?
If I know Kixen correctly, I think he'll be fine. He gives a lot of freedom to the AWPer, let them do whatever they want.
Okay.
So I think he will be fine in that regard. And I also know that if Degster becomes like too much vocally and starts being too toxic, I know he will also shut him down. Because he shut me down sometimes as well when I was whining too much. So, so I know he got that in, so don't worry about that.
All right. Cool. So Striker says this interview is coming out soon. So if people want to check that out, you all know where to find it, HLTV.org. We can talk about Heroic and their matches because they will be playing in a couple of days' time over at BetBoom Dacha. So that'll be coming up later in the show. We can talk a little bit about that then. Let's jump into Isak joining NIP, Nawwk's favorite team, and Metasport making some changes as well. Now, our resident Swede isn't you, Nawwk. It's actually Prof. He's trying to get a new passport, mate. So, Prof, what do you have to say about these Swedish rosters?
It is a roster.
Which one,
NIP.
Metasport or NIP?
NIP has a roster. Metasport doesn't have a roster technically, so there's only one I could be referring to. It's a team. There's a Swedish flag.
It's a team.
That it's better than 3 academy players or whatever they had at EPL going on. So I think Isak is like a pretty decent kind of how to say support player or whatever for a lineup.
I think his output on GamerLegion was pretty good when Emma left.
Yeah, considering like where he was, he also had even back in the Paris run, I feel like he had some like big rounds and big games when needed, So that's like a good indicator. Obviously, like his overall stats are not insane, but we all know that stats really do depend a lot on possessions you play, but also how the team is going, and the team has been going kind of shit on GamerLegion's side. So I wouldn't bank on that too much. I think it's a solid pickup overall for the team. It is still does feel almost weird that they're like, we have a new Swedish player, but we don't want to go Swedish. So they have this Alex element, which honestly had almost nothing to work with since he joined the team. So you can't really judge him at all. Wrinkle showed some decent stuff at
Wrinkle looks good.
Nothing's too crazy, but there's like feels like this team needs so much more to be like a top 10 team, for example. I feel like they're more likely to compete with like Bleed than with anything in terms of like, I don't know, the top 10. I feel
what
like they actually need to prove themselves anyway.
Without looking, what rank are NIP right now?
Oh, they're like 56 or something.
34th.
Okay, that's.
So I think Pro League probably inflated their ranking. Yeah, I would say. But regardless, like you're saying, top 10 team. I think they should just be aiming to be a top 30 team again.
Yeah,
that's probably step number 1. I think Isak is a good role player for the team. Like I said, I think they get a bit more out of him. Nork, you said before you were potentially going to play with him. So what do you think about Isak, other than him now being cursed?
Yeah, exactly. No, but I think Isak is a great player, great support player for sure. He's one of the best in his roles, I would say. So I think this is a good pickup by NIP, but it's sad to see him join NIP. I can say that. But,
pour one out for poor Isak.
Yeah. No, but it's definitely good. But about this NIP lineup, like, I don't know. I don't see this becoming like suddenly a top 5 team. It's not gonna happen.
Is it gonna be better than Bleed?
No. I don't think so.
Insulting in a way, Striker.
Yeah, that's things. But I mean, of course, they're still partnership, right? So it's not fair, I would say. Yet.
True.
But we'll see 2025, I guess.
Yeah, which is what they're saying as well. So we will definitely see come 2025.
Oh.
What do you make of Wrinkle though? Right, because he actually seems to have. He's fucking tall. I'll give him that much, and he seems to have pretty good output.
He's not a little guy.
He's not a little guy. He's a big guy.
Yeah, he's good for sure. I remember facing him when he was in bait. He's a really strong individually. Good player. I hope he can continue his form, even though it's NIP once again. But yeah, that's not a bad pickup either. It's just that the players need to mesh well, It still feels a bit random, I would say. 3 Swedes and 2 international players. But I guess we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. It's curious, because they said something along the lines of like, of course, if we have the best talent in Sweden, we'd like that'd be great. But we're always looking outside of that. We're always going to stay international. They've been saying that for a while now, and they do end up getting a Swedish guy. But then they say that was not the reason that they got him. So curious.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump into our next little piece of news.
I was just going to ask actually, how did you and Isak never cross paths? Like he was in GamerLegion for fucking ever.
Yeah, I don't know. I was in the first lineup of GamerLegion, right? So, and then I left after 1 year, and then I think he kind of joined. So we missed each other just a few months, I think.
Okay. All right, let's jump into the next bit of news. HooXi to miss Dallas, so he won't be there for G2. Is this more nefarious, gentlemen? Do we think this is the beginning of the end for HooXi in G2, or we know it's not. All right, he's just got something he can't get out of, guys. You see what I did there? I tried to bait you all into something. No, but HooXi said he's just got something going on that he can't get out of. So he won't be in Dallas, which kind of makes G2 going to that event. I don't even know who they're going to get to stand in. This Stewie part here that you've tacked on, Prof, we all know that's not happening. He's probably just going for a show match or some shit.
Kind of go to if it happens, though.
Kind of go to if it happens. What is wrong with you?
Kind of legendary, I would say, even.
Like it's like one of those things. Like imagine if they do well. Like that's the crazy part.
What are we even talking about? Are we in the same planet?
I don't know. I don't know. I like the rumors are not completely unfounded. Let's just say that.
What does that even mean?
It's not you know, the guy on Twitter.
It's not the guy on Twitter.
I don't want to name him, but it's not that guy. It's the rumors come from like decent sources. Like it came from a dust2us report that Stewie would play with G2.
Okay, so that's probably come from. That could have come from anywhere. So you think it's come from the source? So it could be real.
I don't know, man.
Nook, you're a player. You hear shit.
We should know soon. I think it should be confirmed soon.
I mean, the lock came in yesterday for Dallas because it's always 2 weeks ahead of the tournament. So they must have registered that guy already.
Why don't they announce it though? Why, like when this is what should as soon as the tournaments know, they should fucking have a website and it goes up on the website.
That's really annoying to me as well because like you have deadlines for roster locks and the ESL are actually quite strict about it. It's not like Blast who like sometimes just make like last minute adjustments. Sometimes not in the recent times actually. I have to give them credit for that because they've actually improved with their roster rules. But that's kind of annoying to me as well. It's like, so what if teams are too late for announcing? Like just fucking get it together.
What's happening, Nork? Tell us. I'm sure you've heard.
I haven't heard anything actually.
Mate, you got Jacob on your team. He talks to everybody. I know. Jacob talking to everybody.
He loves gossip. He does actually, but haven't heard anything about it. I hope it's Stewie though. I hope it's Stewie. It will be fun. Bring him back. 2016 all over again.
What do you think? They'd let him in-game lead? Like what? What they're gonna make next a call?
That's like the funny part about this, you know. Like imagine they just go crazy and they just like have Nico call just for the joke of it, you know. Like that's just I can see that happening from G2 and just being like, fucking Nico, you can have the op. Like let Modesty rifle. You can in-game lead it up at the same time.
Actually,
roll back the years.
Let Ilya call. He does it in all the pugs. They may as well. Just he seems to like it a lot. Let him go nuts. Let him have a crack at it.
He had after this one dog shit tournament that Modesty played. You want to give him the IGL as well. Ruin his career. Instantly.
He was not well. He was sick.
Are you NIP management, Chad?
He wasn't feeling well. Okay, he was sick. He wasn't having the best of times when he had come back. So
this was an ironic comment, by the way, before it gets quoted somewhere.
It probably will end up somewhere. All right. Well, we'll have to wait and see. That's not too long away. I think people are flying to Dallas on like the 24th or the 25th. So basically 2 weeks from now. Okay. We have the other recent news, which is GamerLegion and Fluxo. Who is famous? Someone fill me in.
So that's a striker. Striker who is famous.
No, I'm sorry. I was just got distracted, so I wasn't listening for a moment.
You got distracted?
Yes.
Come on, man. We're doing a podcast. You can't get distracted. I need you locked in, Striker. Need you locked in.
Locked in.
Who is famous?
He's a Russian guy who used to play for Nemiga. That's about as much as I can. That's literally about as much as I can tell you, though. Like I was looking through his numbers though, and he looked kind of sick from like the last couple of months. And pretty much in 2024, like seems CS2 has been good to him because before that he was like deep in the red the whole time. I can't say I've watched him a lot. Like maybe I've watched a couple of matches from the Nemiga days, but I never really paid attention to him, so I can't say much about him, to be honest. Haven't watched enough.
Nook, do you know who Flamus is?
I don't know. I've seen him in Amiga, but that's it. But I've got to give credit to the GamerLegion, the guy who finds the talents, because they've done a pretty good job now, I think, finding some good players for sure.
Is it Ash? Does Ash do the scouting? Do we know?
Yeah, he does a lot of that. From what I remember talking to people, yeah.
Because like Slend seemed pretty good. Andu had his moments as well when they were at Pro League. Actually, they performed better than I thought they would. And
it was interesting though because he doesn't seem like an Isak replacement. Just because he was like the aggressive guy in Amiga. From what I was looking through, like opening stats and stuff like that, he's like really actually quite aggressive. It was like 0.3. Opening duels per round, which is, you know, like just below like kicking their level or whatever. Like that's really high. So I'm curious about how they're going to switch things up to allow for this, you know.
Can I actually, when you're talking about other things, maybe it's kind of the EPL part, but still, I just saw it again. There's this article about FlyQuest's how to improve FlyQuest. Did you see it, Chad?
By Blast?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now they just got the ranking was updated. So FlyQuest went to number, 14?
14.
This is the highest, I guess, they've ever been ranked. With these two pieces of information, can you give me your feelings right now?
Wait, so are we shifting into talking about EPL now?
I mean, we could. I mean, who cares about Flux? So they got art. It's cool. Let's go. We'll talk about them at some point.
Okay. All right. Well, fair enough. I just wanted to make sure we're covering things as we needed to. So you want to talk about FlyQuest?
Yes.
Okay, hold on. Let me just update this. FlyQuest impromptu. I can't spell impromptu. Is it IMPR impromptu?
Prompt. A prompt and then
Impromptu.
him and you at the
Yeah,
end.
I did spell it right. I spelled it correctly. I just wanted to double check so people didn't laugh at me too much, all right?
No, you didn't spell it right.
I didn't?
No.
I thought
There's a P before the T.
Yeah.
Oh, there's extra P in there. Here we go. Hold up.
This is.
There we go.
crucial
Is it
part
right
of this.
now?
Yes. This is now. It's good.
It is a
That's good.
crucial part, Prof.
We
We're gonna
couldn't.
get it
We
right.
couldn't have gone without this.
All right. So FlyQuest overall, them being ranked 14, I think that's a great achievement. I think they played some solid CS. We had discussions about them earlier in the year, right, when they didn't make the major. And I even had them as like a team that I thought wouldn't qualify for the major alongside of NRG. And the rationale I gave for that was because Degster had just come in and he would have been teaching them the system. And when they're in pressure moments, that having to make the right decisions under a new system, players are probably going to be a little more skittish in doing so. And they'll probably make mistakes or be too scared to make those type of plays. And it's going to come back and bite them in the ass in the pressure matches. And that's essentially what I saw happening, because now they've had a bit more time with that system. And you could already see the rewards of that system at Pro League. I will say, I think Liquid are essentially like a team that will have changes in the next couple of months once you make it into the player break. But I still think they're a team that can have like really strong showings. I want to make sure I balance that out for everybody, because I don't think Liquid with their current roster are a team for the future. But I think for FlyQuest to have a good series against them and have some really strong rounds when they probably shouldn't, like a lot of those low buy rounds that they were winning and those type of scenarios, and not like necessarily always fumbling when we're talking about them up against low buys, right? Some of the little details came down to like pushes where they had like a whiff, right? And stuff like that. And that it's like, okay, well, those type of things I don't expect to happen time and time again, right? Those are things that, so it's for overall, when I look at it and I look at the system of Counter-Strike that they were playing under Degster, and to read some of the stuff in the interviews, like what Liaz was saying about Degster being an asshole, like in a good way, I think those are really positive signs to see. And it's essentially what they needed, because Inns had a really good tournament up until the playoffs. I think he got ill. I think he had food poisoning once they got to a lot of players.
Literally everyone.
Sick. Yeah. So I think it impacted him, but you can see how decent he can be individually. People were making Reddit threads like, save this guy. But like, I think Inns can be very strong. I think Vexite's still learning. But yeah, I think that they played some good Counter-Strike, and if they can continue in that direction, and if they can spend more time in Europe, that's good. That's it. That's what I have to say, Prof. You want the Blast stuff? I don't even know why they're writing articles. That I don't understand. Why are they writing articles?
I could ask you the same question. But we're also kind of competing with them. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Doesn't make a lot of sense.
The crazy thing for me was like, so Blast, I don't know if this was before or after or around the major, something like that. They sent out like emails, and they do it to the other talent too. They sent out like emails to the talent. Let me see if I can find one of them here. It's fucking insane. It's like a guy who obviously had just been given this role. I don't know which email it'll be to. He sent like an email like, hey, can you write like an article or give us your like predictions or do, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like completely unsolicited email, and essentially like under the guise of like, you will do this. I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, I don't even work for your business. They don't even hire me. I'm like, what? They do it to the other talent. I feel bad, and some of them feel like they need to do it, otherwise they won't get hired. The poor guys. But yeah. Anyway, Blast, why are you writing articles? What the fuck are you doing? What's going on over there?
They want to feed people to the website. That's probably one of the reasons.
Yeah, I guess. All right. Well, now you've kind of discombobulated me a bit, Prof. We just started talking about FlyQuest. What do you guys think about FlyQuest?
Pretty cool.
I love me some Ents.
Pretty cool.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Cool team. I love me some Australians. Nice to see them doing something after like 2 years of fucking around. I think that's pretty accurate. 2 years of fucking around.
2 years of gatekeeping. Yep.
Yeah. So I really I love the Liaz interview. That's great. Always love a Liaz interview, but this one was like amazing. Also kind of like, as you said, like, oh, Dexter's going to bring so much European knowledge. And he's like, he didn't bring anything. He just told us he's just idiots. An asshole. You know? And I was like, this is kind of nice. If that's what you need, then that's what you need. So that's amazing. Kind of the roles make sense. Everything kind of makes more sense now. So it's a great direction. I just hope they continue. That's, as you said, they need more time in Europe, and they have been taking more time in Europe. So that's going to definitely improve the team.
I was trying to see if I could poach Nork and Jacob and get him with Justin and Aaron and try and build a team, but maybe get Nedic in.
So this before or after you read the Blast article?
This has got nothing to do with FlyQuest. So this was well before.
This is unrelated to the FlyQuest situation.
Unrelated. Yeah.
Actually, I just want to say the best parts of that article is like saying that they should pick up A-Core, who like played with degster and MOUZ and was like the most horrible combination ever. So I don't know. That's it. I just had to call that out.
Call a spade a spade.
Yeah. What if we do ads and then go on to the next, talk more about EPL after I completely discombobulated your show?
Yeah, let's do it. All right, let's go to an ad break, Lucas. We'll be right back.
Are you tired of your boring old skins? Head to Trade It and trade them for exciting new ones within seconds. With 24/7 support, massive inventory, free giveaways, and low fees. Trade It is the highest rated trading platform in the market. What are you waiting for? Start trading today for a $5 bonus, only on Trade It.
The world is changing quickly. Shoot it.
The world is changing, but one thing remains the same. Victories with 1xBet.
Since the dawn of CSGO, we have been there. Observers of all that competition can reveal. Elation, fear, triumph, and heartache reach out from every frame. From the small studios and conference rooms to the epic arenas, the feeling is still the same. We live and breathe this game. This was CSGO Through the Lens. Buy now at HLTV.org/shop.
All right, let's get straight back into this. Thank you for bearing with us through the ads that keep the lights on around here, or mine are slightly off. Nork, I'm going to throw you a contentious one straight away. You ready for this? You got to grab it with both hands.
I'm ready.
Is ZywOo's MVP fraudulent?
I mean, I don't think so. I mean, he's just too good at the game, to be honest. So I don't think he is. It is. I mean, maybe he had some easy opponent this EPL. I didn't watch too much EPL, but I mean, he's just too good at the game, isn't he? So.
Yeah, I threw you a hot one there, didn't I? He definitely cooled off a lot once he got into, not especially, the last series, the final. The one that, Prof, you'd say, I'd say, we'd all say, matters the most. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was tough. They got absolutely dominated by MOUZ. It was, look, if you're a MOUZ fan, it was a good final. If you're a Counter-Strike fan, it was a pretty shit final.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we can stick on ZywOo just for a bit.
Yeah, I wanted to start with that. Straight out of the ad break into something contentious.
It is fine. Like, honestly, so that FaZe series, insane. Just in general, he was playing great. But I guess it's really hard, in my opinion, to judge EPL considering how long it is and how many matches people play and how some matches are not that important and others are. And then it's like, how do you quantify it? You should be like, okay, the grand final is the most important, but then also ZywOo had an insane tournament overall. So like, it is kind of weird, but I will do the following and I'll say, Striker, can you explain why Exertion didn't win the MVP? Because like watching the final, watching the semis, I was like, this kind of smells like an Exertion MVP.
No, I mean, from the final maybe, but I think outside of that, there was never going to be a discussion, to be honest. Like, of course, like you look at the final and you see like he's not matched up to the same level that he was before. But it's not like he disappeared from the final entirely. He just didn't do the shit that he was doing against FaZe, you know. And I think like when you set that kind of a precedent, I think people maybe took it a little bit too far. And like if you look at the final stats, and you can say like about opponents and stuff like that, but it's not like Vitality, especially like once they got to the playoffs, they had easy opponents, and even, you know, Mongols made it to the playoffs, you know. So it's not like that was some easy opponent. Like they've been competitive recently, right? And then you go FaZe, #1 team in the world, and he goes 2.20 rating. Then Astralis, who have been on the rise, he goes 140 or something like that.
70 kills in that series.
140, yeah,
insane.
exactly. 140 in that series, you know. So in the 2 playoff series that mattered the most to get them to the final, he's way ahead of Xerxon. It's more like the final when Xerxon started to catch up. But like overall, it's still like if you look at the stats, and it's not just about the stats, but like he still ended up like 0.25 or something behind ZywOo even after the final, you know. So like if you look at his whole stats from the tournament, at the fact that he, like, of course he dropped off, like there's no question, but he didn't disappear in the final. Like you realistically can't take it away from ZywOo when he's that far ahead going into it, you know. Like it would have had to be a pretty big disappearance in the final, I think, for him for Xerxon to take it away. And that's not taking anything away from Xerxon. He also had like several really good maps against really good teams, but I think compared to ZywOo, there was still a pretty big gap.
Well, all of these things I'm about to say can all be true at once. Did he farm noobs in the group stage? Yes. Did he fucking rock the socks off some of the best teams in Counter-Strike at the moment in the playoffs? Yes. And did he not live up to the same level of dominance in the final? Yes. All 3 of those things can be true, and they all probably contribute when people are out there critiquing this one way or the other in the final, when they're getting absolutely fucking ragdolled around the server. What was it? 2 9-3 halves and 1 10-2 half in a best of 5 final that felt like it was over in the blink of the eye, and they were never competitive. Like a lot of the rounds, the team as a whole wasn't even shooting back. I think after the first 2 maps of play was like 40 something rounds, and 26 of those rounds had opening kills going for MOUZ. Like they were just, they were setting the tone. I also think like a slight trap in the sense that they pick Inferno. MOUZ know that they're likely to go for that, which has been a bit of a weakness for them. And they had prepped obviously quite well for that map, and they showed up immediately, which I imagine would have shocked Vitality. I just think to win a final 3-0 with 2 of those 3 maps being your opponent's picks, so 1 and 3, that's crazy in the fashion they did it. So all in all, you know, I've said this before, I'm not a big stats guy. Like I'm looking at what the players are doing in the server from either the casting position or if I'm doing analyst role or whatever, right? I'm looking at the impact that I'm seeing in the game, and I'm not necessarily just combing through the numbers in the same way, but he was on track to have the best rating ever?
Yeah, I mean, he was 170 going into the final, so literally matching Nico's and Donk's record at the moment, you know. So had he kept it up in the final, like that would have been like record matching, you know. So like compared to that, like you have to do something really very extraordinary. And it's not like I want to take anything away from Xerxon, but it was much more like by committee on MOUZ's side, where like different people stepping up at different times. Of course, Xerxon had like really good deciders against both Vitality and Complexity, I think against G2 as well. But like compared to what ZywOo did to FaZe, that doesn't even come close, for example, you know. And even across the whole playoffs, it turns out that ZywOo has a higher rating, you know. So like I think people just wanted to look just at the final, and just because ZywOo didn't match what he did in the 2 previous series, that's why he shouldn't get it, you know. But like if you set that high of a standard, like you really have to do something special even in the final for you to make everybody happy, you know. So I think, like, of course there was still a discussion after the final. It's like, okay, like there was enough catching up that made us question it, but it's not like there was ever like a conversation that it was realistic for Xerxon that he had caught up to that degree, you know.
Yeah, and this is the 7th losing MVP for ZywOo.
Oh my god!
Which, talking about like, you know, all the help that he has on Vitality over these years, you know.
Ugh. Yeah, that's tough. No, I want to ask a question to you as a player. Do you think we should have like tournament MVPs and then a grand final MVP, or is that maybe overdoing it a little bit?
I think that might be overdoing it, to be honest.
Okay. I just posed the question because like maybe this is how it should be. Like if ESO have their DHL MVP, right?
Yeah.
I feel like they should just pivot that into
the grand final.
Just
MVP.
the grand final MVP.
Yeah, because realistically, they also no one really wants to fuck around with the tournament MVP, because it is kind of a lot of work, and then it's kind of like, who do we give it to? And then somehow
part of the DHL MVP is fucking fan vote in Twitch chat.
Yeah.
Like, how legitimate of an MVP award can it be with fan vote in Twitch chat? Like, what are we talking about?
What do you mean? They know the best.
Well, yeah, that's true, actually.
That
yeah,
knows the best.
I mean, if it was like on HLTV forums, then we could say it's, objectively correct. But
yeah, true.
Without it, I would still say kind of on the line of legitimacy right now.
Yeah, because I just think, like, within the grand final for me, Exertion was the MVP of the grand final, but
for sure
of the event in terms of the output. And then also, Prof, you highlighted this earlier, because of the structure of the event and the type of teams, there is a big disparity between the best teams in the world and some of these teams from smaller regions that come, like a Bad News Kangaroos, for example. And they're coming to give it their best, whereas a lot of the time they just get absolutely mauled. And that's where all of the stats count. But some of those groups we know are harder than other groups as well. So yeah, it is always just a murky conversation, but like anything, it requires the context, right? The ability to have that conversation. So I think that the thing is, everybody wants nuclear ZywOo in a grand final.
Yeah.
It's just, how...
I think that's what felt the most bad to people, like seeing what he can do to FaZe, and then he doesn't match that against MOUZ. I think that's why people were so quick to think that he doesn't deserve it just because he did something so amazing and he couldn't match that. It just feels like people are taking it kind of like the opposite way a little bit. Like he was kind of the victim of his own success before that.
But ZywOo's a very contentious name, even though he's not as a person, right? Like ZywOo's just this really happy-go-lucky, nice guy. And I think that, it's the talk around him, which is part of this being a competition and part of it being entertainment, and those things are just going to happen. And people, he's in that like GOAT conversation, and there's people who love it or hate it. And that's just...
Yeah, I mean, people like to bring up the whole, like, he never does that well at majors, even though he has a major MVP now, all that stuff. Of course, people bring up like the opposition at the major and like some of the best tournaments around him. But like, if you look deeper, like under pressure and all that stuff, like ZywOo still matches pretty much all the boxes. Unless you like just disregard the last major, like the major that Vitality won entirely, So it's kind of like, I don't know. It feels like that kind of storyline is a little bit overblown, even though I understand where it comes from, just because people like to compare him to Simple, who has it all, now, and who matched all the boxes before that, So like, if you enter that conversation, like there's always going to be people who favor one or the other for the conversation, and they have their own reasonings. And I understand part of it for ZywOo. It just feels like people are then taking it too far and say like he's shit just because he doesn't do the same thing as Simple, or whatever. I'm like, well, maybe that's not so fair.
Yeah, and not so true either. Okay, so what do we think about Vitality as a whole? Do we want to extrapolate this conversation and talk a little bit wider? Because I know, like, earlier in the year, we were doing a podcast, and I don't think I worded it very well. I think I used like experience when talking about Vitality, and you guys pushed back when I mentioned like the amount of experience of the roster as a whole. I don't remember the exact conversation, but I remember you guys were pushing back against that. And I still haven't like formed the argument or the discussion in my head properly. So we'll try again right now, live, while people are listening, going to judge me and call me a fucking idiot. Isn't that great? But there just, to me, feels like there is something missing with Vitality.
Yeah.
Like they have good, like I think that Flamesy, Spinks, and ZywOo are all very, very strong players. But I don't know if they're all being used optimally.
No, I mean, I think you can say for Flames that he's definitely, he has higher peak and more potential than we see in Vitality. And I think like he has here and there like good matches, sometimes good tournaments, but I don't think you can say that he's like a clear third star of this team, because quite often he's not. Like quite often he has just like a bad game and is not really visible, and that is quite a bit, I would say, to his role. That is super aggressive and has some of these like roles that are risky, plays that are risky, and that he's just gonna die. So that's kind of a tricky thing with Apeks playing some of the pretty good CT side positions. You don't really have space with like Spinks and then ZywOo for Flames to have more more like attractive positions on the map to kind of blossom, I would say, in this lineup. And then you have Mezzi, who I also think just doesn't really vibe that much with the roles that he has. Like, he can do it okay, but not really. He's not excelling in it. He's not like, usually when you see a team of this stature, the support guy is going to be like, oh, the support guy is great because he's in a great team. But that's not really showing, for Mezzi, how it showed for like Perfecto, for example, in Navi when they were dominating, or Magisk in Vitality.
Okay.
Earlier.
Yeah, well, I want to get a bit of a temperature check from Nawwk here. Nawwk, they made it to the grand final. They beat Astralis, who are quite strong at the moment, or at least on the rise. Redemption are the ashes of what Astralis was. It's a much stronger looking team. They beat FaZe, stopped them from getting to the first grand final that they will have missed in CS2. So those are two massive scalps to take. Do you think I'm off base with like critiquing Vitality, or do you think there is some things that are lacking there? How do you view them as a team?
I mean, I think I agree with you. I feel like something might be missing, but I'm not sure what. I feel like it might be hard to replace MOUZ before, like the last year. He was really, really good in his role, right? And I feel like Messi hasn't really found his ground in that team yet.
That is a HLTV forum classic conversation at the moment, isn't it? You see like a minus Mezzi plus Perfecto, like that seems to be a bit of the chat that happens there. And you wonder, right? Because Mezzi is a player who he's done a bunch of stuff in a short period of time, right? He was over at Cloud9. He was in Fnatic, right? We've seen him do in-game leading. We've seen him do more star positions. He's now doing more anchor type roles. So he's been here, there, and everywhere. And there was some discussions going on in the green room while we were watching the games. And the chat was essentially, and I think even Yanko might have been talking about it during one of the casts, that the decisions he was making didn't look like natural decisions for him to be making in those moments, right? And obviously you want to play within the team and the system and what they want and what they're looking for. But if you're not that type of player to make those choices, then maybe you're doing your job, but your output might not be as strong. And I don't think that Mezzi's necessarily like the problem, right? I'm not labeling anybody. I just think that there's something just feels a little bit at the moment for Vitality, and I think that's almost could be placed with a lot of teams. Right, you can almost do that with all the teams at the moment. Right, what teams do we think are like fucking solid as a rock in Counter-Strike at the moment? How many of them could we name?
I mean, like you could say like MOUZ is,
but is that only because of the result?
In theory, but not actually in practice, right? Because like they have the roles and the team looks like it functions, but then if you put them on a big stage, then you also don't expect them to do like they did here in EPL. So it's kind of a. And then the big teams like I would say FaZe to some degree.
I mean, Spirit is probably the best example of like a complete team at the moment.
Yeah, and that's kind of it, right? Because
like that actually functions in every role, and like everybody's in places where they're supposed to be and are playing well in them, as well. So like it's just functioning well together.
But we haven't seen them in a while.
That's the problem.
So that's also another conversation point to be had. So it's few and far between with the teams at the moment in terms of, where we see gaps or omissions or whatever. I think Astralis with time, if they continue with this steady pace that they're delivering at the moment, like I don't think, they're just going to start winning all of the tournaments, but getting the reps, especially for Stair and Bro, I think is very important within that team. But for me, they look like, and obviously Device as an in-game leader needs to be tested more, but for me, they look like one of the teams that could be in the category of like a complete team. Like I really like what they're doing. And Nawwk, I know you said you didn't, watch all the Pro League because it's very long, lots of games. But were there any teams for you that stood out and you thought, oh yeah, fuck yeah, these guys look solid, or like any standouts or any teams that you were surprised with performing poorly?
I'm not sure. It's like you said, MOUZ was for sure. They were kind of dominating. But then again, it's EPL, right? I'm not too sure. Like it's hard to take something out of EPL. I think like maybe ESL will like boycott me now, but I feel like watching EPL is like so. I don't know if boring is the right word, but it's like it's too much CS in a way. Like it's fun being there, doing stuff, but watching personally, I don't know how much I can take from it. From a viewer perspective.
What about from the perspective of, because one of the big things that people at home like to talk about is the smaller crowd, right? And it loses its grandeur in that regard. For you as a player, does it feel less prestigious because it doesn't culminate in like an arena event?
Could be. But I think the main reason is like it's just there's too many teams and too much CS. I feel like I don't know, like it's too much to watch. You can't follow it all. I feel like it's almost impossible.
Yeah, well, we
that's
had
true.
B streams for 12 out of the 18 broadcast days,
Yeah.
which it's crazy.
We were just seeing the stats from like comparison between like last and this pro league, and it was like from 240 hours it went from that last season to 150 or something was it this season, which is still kind of a big amount. I think the majors were like 120 or something like that. So so it's still a massive amount of stuff to follow.
Yeah, do a little like pro league feedback moment, because actually I started writing a comment on Reddit.
Like everybody else. Oh, sorry.
I started writing a comment on Reddit, but then I got distracted and did something else, so I didn't finish it. But essentially, my biggest problem is not even like how many teams there are, but just the format is so backwards. It's so backwards, and it really forces you to do everything that you did to try to make it interesting, because there's so many games that are between bad teams. Like objectively, the best teams play the least, and this was a problem before, and it's a problem now and continues to be. Firstly, because of the group stage, which is essentially triple elimination is Swiss, but they managed to make it worse because the good teams go through very quickly, and the good match at the end, like Complexity Navi or whatever that we had in Group D, is a seeding game, so that doesn't even matter, right? So you killed like the enjoyment of one big game that you have, and then all of these best teams skip like 2 matches in the playoffs. So I know you tweeted like when you got to the quarterfinals, I think the matchups were pretty sick. Yeah, I was like, why did we have to wait 2.5 weeks to get to this point where like usually you'd have like one good game in 2 days, and you had like 6 games per day of like mid teams? Like it's fine to have, all of these different teams playing against each other, but it shouldn't be like 70-80% of the games are like, 15th team against 25th team. And then I was just looking at some of the maps played. So number 1 is G2, who had 20 maps in Virtus Pro, and then it's FlyQuest 17 maps, and then M80 17 maps.
Yeah.
Like, how does this make sense? How is it not, MOUZ towards the top, and Vitality, who won the in the grand finals? They played less maps than teams like got out in like round of 12 or 16. It's so backwards.
Yeah, I think the thing is, it's meant to be like a tier 1 event, right? But the way it is framed,
it feels like a playground for teams to kind of show off that they're part of Pro League. Let's give the little teams something to play for, but that doesn't really fit with this is an Intel Grand Slam $1.5 million tournament. That's for me worse than the stage and everything else that comes with it.
I think there's a lot of problems there, right? And a lot of people watched the season we did just this time around, and they talk about what we were trying to do from an entertainment perspective. Some people liked it, some people didn't like it. The people who didn't like it are great. Keep writing those comments, because we will use them next season to make some skits out of. Don't you worry, motherfuckers. The thing is, from my perspective as like a Counter-Strike purist who wants to watch the best teams and the best competition, Pro League doesn't offer that, like for the majority of the event. And as much as smaller teams should have opportunities, because I once upon a time was one of those smaller teams, it feels like there's amount of opportunities they get, there's so many of them, and not only are you having the worst teams playing more games, you're having the worst teams playing the games in the peak slots, because then when they lose, they then play on the weekend. So like we're not even helping ourselves out viewership wise, because the best teams play earlier in the week and then they qualify, and then they play like a seeding match on the weekend, and sure, you put it in a primetime slot, but everybody knows they've already made the playoffs. And then it does have impact on the bracket and everything like that.
I think that's also a big part of it, that's like that you skip so many matches where like, so even the first 2 playoffs rounds are kind of like some of the teams that
we got
surprised
fortunate with this one. It was
actually
pretty good.
This time was pretty good. Yeah, we actually got some good teams, but it was like still like FaZe and Monty. Like Monty ended up obviously competitive, and they actually could have won that series, But realistically, like we probably expected a stomp, and some of these matchups, like
Gizmy and Ryu have been demoted immediately, so you can tell you how Monty felt about it.
Like exactly. So even first 2 rounds of playoffs, like the group winners don't play until the 3rd round, So like the best teams in theory, obviously, if you don't have any big surprises like we had kind of this time, which obviously will happen with this amount of games, but like, even as you go into the playoffs, you're still not seeing all the best teams immediately. You have to wait 3 days until you do. And so it's even 8 more matches that you have to see maybe a couple of good teams, play against all the teams that surprise, so it's like the whole skipping part of it, that just doesn't feel great as well. Also, like, it made this whole kind of like, from our perspective, and also I think that's partly what contributed to like this whole ZywOo discussion, like he didn't get a chance to do more, to play against the better teams a little bit more, just because they beat 3 relatively bad teams early on in the groups, and then they just played 3 good teams in the playoffs, in a row. Like, so while like G2 had to play, I don't know how many more temes than that, so like.
So what we're saying is we want the good teams to lose in the opening round. We should put like the highest ranked teams against each other.
They should just start in the lower brackets.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, like, how like some of them, I don't know how many of you follow F1, but like there was like this stupid, ridiculous idea of having a reverse grid, which is basically like you start with the opposite order of qualifying. So the 20th team in qualifying starts from first, basically to like improve overtaking, like to make the racing a little bit more exciting. Yeah. Obviously, it is a really stupid idea, but imagine if you did that, like the worst teams start earlier in the bracket, and then you just have the best teams play.
See if you can overcome without any errors.
That would be so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, look, I think
let's have a reverse tournament. I'm down for that.
Let's do it. We need something different. On a broader overall conversation, I do believe that next season of Pro League is the last that is contracted for Malta. Because I know that's another critique that people have online is like the event itself. This time around, we had the change where they were facing each other, which made it a lot better. I think that almost has to be like a constant. But, Pro League back when Astralis were winning it, then, sir, it was fucking awesome. That was like 3,000 to 4,000 people. It was a great atmosphere. And it also, like, I would love to do 2 weeks of group stage. And also, it's a league, and it's not a league format. Like,
yeah. It's lost. It really lost. It's completely lost as a product, in my opinion. It really does not know what it is or it's supposed to be. It's kind of all over the place. And you know what I can say? I'm so glad it is over. With no disrespect to anyone.
No,
I can't wait for normal tournaments to come back.
Yes.
I also can't believe this used to be 5 weeks. Yes. I'm flabbergasted by this information. It's like, I don't know how we managed to go 5 weeks of Pro League. It's insane. Yeah. Absolutely insane.
Yes.
I think I have the solution.
Okay.
We bring back best of 1 online games like back in the day.
Yeah, let's do it.
Like full round robin.
Yeah, let's do it. Good old days.
I heard a rumor that might be like getting floated as a conversation for Pro League next year.
I mean, I wouldn't mind.
I think when a part of more TOs coming back, right? We hear PGLs coming back. We hear we know PGLs coming back, right? They've already put their intent out there.
We know Starletter's coming back.
We know Starletter's coming back. And there's
Blast also has to change stuff.
Yes, but like if you're ESL, you could run a portion of this online. The biggest issue we had back in the day was conflict in terms of dates, right? And the rescheduling and stuff. And ESL were quite rigid with that, and teams would have to forfeit. If we could make it work, obviously people aren't going to get...
This time people are not going to be, at least so far, I think, for the 3-week slots, which I imagine would be the Pro Leagues next year. There's no clashes at the moment. There could be somebody else coming on top, but I don't see teams like skipping EPL unless it's for a blast event that's LAN or whatever, like I don't see them skipping EPL, like whatever EPL is going to be at that point, but assuming it's going to be like reasonably similar price pool and all that stuff, like even if it's online, I don't see them going to another LAN that's kind of like second tier, if they can play that.
Yeah. Well, like, I think another thing just quickly on this, and I'll probably talk a lot more about this in the future and not take up too much of our time now. There's also some stuff with certain teams I want to get stuck into too, but we'll, now's not the time or the place. But the reason we do the season in the way that we do the season is because the people who are there, like the talent like me, are aware of the issues that at least purist viewers, because it detracts from the whole thing. So we're trying to offer something different. We're not doing something different so the event's different. The event's fucked. We're trying to salvage the event to make it entertaining for you to watch 3 long weeks of Counter-Strike, where we will be the clowns for you and do dumb shit and try and bring players in. And here's the biggest issue, Prof, that you fucking just before hit the nail on the fucking head, mate. The reason that we can't get more players to come and cast with us more often is because it is for the Intel Grand Slam. And the good teams care for that reason. It's a lot of prize money and it means a lot. So they're not just going to take time out of their day to come and cast with us because it can't just have like the fun vibe. It's not just like a 200K event.
It's not a summit.
Exactly.
It's not summit, unfortunately. It would be best if it was a week-long event that is, whatever, 250K or some shit like that. And then people actually come and, go out and not go out in Malta, like some, probably
Don't
do,
go
but
out
like
in
you get
Portugal.
eliminated and then you stick around for a few more days, you cast, you do whatever. But it is kind of like a premium event, but it's not, it's
weird.
That's probably the biggest part of it that just feels such a big disconnect, like that the teams want to take it seriously. And I think there was like one moment specifically, like where Blade went on the couch or something, and he said something like, yeah, you guys are making jokes, but for us, it's actually like an important tournament. It's an Intel Grand Slam and blah, blah, blah. And you're like, you understand that as a viewer, but then you see like all these jokes and basically like nobody paying attention to the games at some points, even games that are decent, and so like you just don't understand this disconnect between the at least the prestige on paper that the event has, and that's actually being shown on the broadcast, and that goes from sometimes the level of games and like the level of opposition that's just like so wildly different. And I actually don't mind that, just because it does give teams like teams that we don't usually see more opportunities, and that's what I liked about the expansion of Pro League in the first place. But when it's like at the expense of the best teams playing more, that's when it feels a bit like
They fucked it up completely, right? Because the thing that they should have done was back when we had the conference. You guys remember, like there was meant to be all of the teams. This is where they fucked it up completely. They never pulled it off properly, which shits me to absolutely no end. Because the concept with the conference, which we only did online, I don't even think we did it on LAN, was to bring all of the teams.
Once it was online, I think.
Sorry?
Once it was online, like
but it was disconnected. It was disconnected. It was like months before. The idea was the first week of Pro League was meant to be all the conference teams come, and then the best of the conference teams from all over the world, from the US, Australia, Asia, what's it called? It's not ESEA in Europe anymore. It's like ECL or whatever the fuck it is. Yeah. Right? The teams who are like fighting to play with the big boys all face each other. So we don't have such a large disparity. And then that first week's exciting because we see FlyQuest go up against, I don't know, fucking M80. And it's like, oh shit, these are two like decent regional teams. They're not best teams in the world, but we get to see how they clash against each other. And then the best make it through, and then they get an opportunity to go to bat against the best teams in the world, which then would be the next few weeks of group stage and then into the playoffs, right? So it would actually ramp up, but they completely fucked it. Like every time, man, they fuck it up every time. They make these dumb cunt decisions over there. They never run it by us. They tell us all these good things they're going to do, and then they just change it. And it's like, these fucking guys, man, it pisses me off to no end over there. I'm going to lose my cool. All right, let's move on. Okay, FaZe, streak ending. Well, they got ZywOo, didn't they? So it's not the end of the world. They were bound to lose at some point, weren't they?
That was fucking insane, though. Like, whoever watched that series, just watch it from ZywOo's perspective and just have your jaw drop to the floor.
Sorry,
like, there was some... Huh?
No, I was just reading chat. Someone told Prof to do this. Well, they can't
to do what?
Me.
There you go. I did it. I did the thing.
Anyway,
okay.
Sorry, man. Sorry.
That was a breaking comment. Had to do that right away.
Yeah, had to do it immediately. But ZywOo did absolutely maul them. I don't know. I don't know what to. I don't think losing to ZywOo in that form. Whatever. I was calling that low part of the bracket murderer's row.
Yeah. Like I went into that match expecting kind of like, okay, Vitality haven't played for a couple of weeks. It's like the typical, like you've gone through the group so fast and then you're waiting for the other group to play. Like you're waiting for 2 more playoffs days to play out, and like then you play. You might start a little bit rusty. You might start a little bit slow. No, just they got fucked from the beginning. Just no chance whatsoever from Nuke. It looked like Vertigo was actually going to go the other way, but then like ZywOo still 30 bombed. There was like the Flames 2 rounds in the end.
Half, yeah.
So it actually, that was maybe like a big takeaway for me, that FaZe actually did look better, but then they went into the CT side where they had, I think, 1 round in the first time they played against each other. And at the major, when they played Vertigo, I think it was 11-1. One on the CT side, and that actually didn't improve that much in this match. So feels like there's still a lot for FaZe's Vertigo to improve. But yeah, I don't know. I agree with you. Like, I don't think there's any shame in losing that kind of ZywOo, because he was hitting fucking everything. Like he couldn't put a step wrong.
Yeah. Look, I'm trying to work out, because I want to keep nawwk entertained here. You know, I want him to make sure he's enjoying this, just like
I'm
everybody
entertained.
at home.
Don't worry, I'm listening to some professionals here, so.
Yeah, well, I want to make sure like I can bring you into the convo as much as possible here, mate. But when we're talking about these things, because I think we probably all have quite similar opinions on this. It's like, well, FaZe were bound to not make all the grand finals. Like, what did we think they were just going to make every grand final till the end of time? It's like it was quite an impressive run. Stats men are looking at you. Is that the longest grand final run out of any team ever? Like making that many in a row? I
wanted to go back, and I'm pretty sure Astralis have something like that as well. I can actually give it a quick check, but because I wanted to look at this and then I forgot about it. No, I mean, Ben IP obviously from the first whatever year and a half would have been more than that.
Yeah.
It's a bit different, obviously different times, but I'm pretty sure that Astralis had something similar like that in 18-19. I'm gonna look back just to check how long they went just to make a final. Who do you think's the best team in the world right now, Nork? And you can just say MOUZ if you wanna go that way. But like before you said, oh, it is Pro League, so we all know a bit of the studio environment plays in that. But if I put you on the spot right now, like who would be your best team in the world?
I mean, this is pretty easy, right? I would still say Spirit. They haven't played in so long, but I don't know. We got Own in practice today. They're playing well still.
Yeah.
So no.
Was there any Dust 2 in the mix there? I just keep watching. Is that Lim? Like that guy with the VODs up on YouTube? He's like Donk's shit. That's on my TV all the time.
Oh, I don't know. Just I would say Spirit, even though they haven't played, but they're playing tomorrow, right, or something like that.
Yeah, they're playing BetBoom.
Yeah. So it's actually to see them back in action.
So Knock, you're on the.
No, go ahead. Sorry,
Are you on the same train as me as Donk being, I would say, underrated right now with all the Monacy hype, kind of being overlooked. Overlooked would be the word.
I don't know if he's underrated. I think he's fairly rated. To be honest, like it's impossible to say.
I think it's more that people just like forget that Donk exists and they like to dismiss what he did just because he didn't do exactly the same thing in Katowice that like at the major, even though like he was still top 5 rated player at the major or some shit, still an EVP, and like people are like, yeah, he didn't do what he did at Katowice, so he's obviously a fraud. And I'm like, I'm sorry, did we just forget what happened, or like what happened here?
Well, what do you think, Chad?
About
I heard a lot of like, Monacy is the best player in the world from the Pro League broadcast. Not saying you specifically, but like you are not responsible for everything that comes from Malta, the island.
It does seem that way when I read some of the feedback comments. It's like, it's like, can Sponge tell? Like, guys, these are my colleagues. These aren't like, I'm not their fucking boss. Like, Jesus. Well, I think it's tough because if you're not competing, you fall out of this. Like, competition is something, especially in our space, that is week to week almost, right? And if not week to week, month to month. And because they've been on ice for so long, right, you fall out of the conversation, like Striker said. So he's fallen, like, unless you're a mega hardcore and you're watching the VODs of him playing fucking Face It, right? Because what else really could you be watching? Then you're probably not keeping up with just like how talented he is, like when you sit and you watch him play, because that's the impressive thing about Donk, right? Is the way that he's not blowing our expectations out of the water in terms of him winning 1v5s. It's watching him stroll into a bomb site and headshot 3 people because his crosshair placement is fucking perfect. And that for me is like, that is mind blowing, right? But we don't get that on our screens every week. What you do is you get Flicky Monacy going in, re-peaking with the AWP.
Which is also really sick, without a doubt, right? It's fucking insane.
But right now, my top 3 conversation in no particular order would be Donk, ZywOo, and Monacy.
I think that's great. Like we're heading, like I'm hoping that like Donk keeps this up, just because if he does, then we actually have kind of like a conversation. He doesn't have to do the same thing as Katowice, like obviously, otherwise then it's not a conversation, because then Donk is the best player in the world, But if he keeps up what he did at the major, and maybe Spirit doesn't win everything, and like he's good enough. G2 are obviously not going to win everything. They haven't been so far. Vitality haven't been winning everything so far. So it feels like, we're in this kind of like almost parity era where we could have a lot of different teams winning, a lot of different people vying for the top spots. So that's pretty cool.
Could also be a pretty exciting award show. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Finally,
like the last few years, it was just like, it's just a kind of a matter of time until we announce who wins. But this year could be pretty exciting. Like, I don't think you can really write out any of the 3, especially ZywOo now after EPL. You can say what you want about EPL, but it shows the trajectory is like, okay, this guy, is
back from the earlier periods.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't like dog shit, but he wasn't number one contention.
wasn't
I'd
godful.
say.
I mean, he had no awards until now, right? He had no EVPs or MVPs until literally this tournament.
So that's a nice sign. I think I'm very excited about that. What about nawwk? What do you think about m0NESY in CS2 particularly? Like, as an opper, obviously you have to see what he's doing, and it's like kind of no one else is doing what he's doing in terms of like how aggressive he is, it feels like, and successful at the same time. So how do you explain it?
Yeah, how do I explain it? Kind of reminds me of like Simple in the CSGO days, I would say, in a way. Maybe not playstyle wise 100%, but just both doing like insane shit, like just crazy highlights, crazy stats. I don't know. I wouldn't say I really watch m0NESY demos because he's so aggressive, right? But he has some insane tricks, and he's just, I don't know, he's so young, and I don't know. I guess I'm just too old for this game or something. I don't know. Like,
I mean, he has been taking a page out of Simple's book for sure in terms of like playmaking and all that stuff, just going for crazy shit, even though it's maybe not the most optimal play in that particular moment. Sometimes it goes wrong for him, but a lot of the time it doesn't. By the way, I looked through the Astralis stats. They also have 7 LAN finals in a row.
Okay.
FaZe have the online one, but obviously like you don't really want to count that in, just because at the time, like 2018, 2019, there was like so many LANs and shit.
Yes.
But the Astralis won 6 of them, I think, while FaZe have 4 wins out of that. So yeah. Unfortunate. They could have. I'm pretty sure, like at least outside of the NIP streak all the way at the beginning, that would have been a record.
Okay. All right. Nice. I want to ask you this one, if I can, nawwk. When you're watching pro teams play at the moment, is there any team that you're watching and you're like, yeah, I really like the way that they play the game? Like, obviously, you could say that about Spirit. You just said you think they're the best team in the world, but with the way that Apeks played, and you saying that you like that, is there any teams out there that have a similar play style, or is there a style that you would like to try and mimic?
I think it's so hard to try to mimic teams. Like it's if you're gonna copy a team, the team will always be one step ahead of you, so they will always be better than you. So I don't think that's the right way to go. But entertaining CS is like watching FaZe, pulling out crazy like clutches and impossible scenarios. I feel like always fun to watch. And then there's always like players like individually, right? Like watching Spirit, watching donk, watching even my old team is Yale, for example. Always fun to see. So it's more like individuals for me, more than team CS, I would say.
Okay. All right, boys. We got to make sure we give MOUZ their flowers here, don't we? As far as the EPL win is concerned, because this is the thing. They win this event. They win back-to-back Pro League seasons. That's a pretty impressive feat within itself. The context of the season, the format, the arena / studio environment. I shouldn't say / out arena. Change it for studio. All of those things, they don't really play into them being dominant and winning it the way they won it, right? So what do we have to say about MOUZ? What do we like? Because I think we all will sit here and say yes, but we need to see them crack through in a big arena event. Right, but is this another positive step in that direction, I suppose, is where I should be going with the questioning?
I'm a little bit worried that this will go in the direction that people will just call them EPL merchants now, even though like
until they break out of that, right? But
I mean, exactly, like it's fair. It's obviously fair criticism, just because we haven't seen them do something like that in an arena yet, and we've seen exactly the opposite, where they just disappear in those moments, and I think, I mean, they're aware of that as well, and it's probably playing on their minds, and it's going to be playing on their minds next time they're playing in an actual arena and all that stuff. I do hope that they do break out of that, but at the same time, like, honestly, this is a good step. This is a good first step towards replicating it somewhere else as well.
Well, they beat G2 and Chengdu, right? And yeah. I know that wasn't necessarily the craziest of crowds, but it was still an arena with a bigger crowd. I know that against FaZe in the final, it was a bit of a, what is it? Is it a damp squib? Is that what it's called? I could
that's gotta be an Australian expression.
I could be making terminology out right now. I'm sure some people in Twitch chat will check. The major, I think, like the major G2 game, I'm going to give them a pass there because of the circumstances of the stage being rushed. Right. And then what I have a tough time doing, I think I might be a psychopath, right? Empathy's hard to come by, but I try and put myself in their shoes, and I then try and relate to the age that a lot of their players are. Like, for me now, if I was in that environment, people rush the stage in that scenario, you still don't know what's going on, but I don't think it would have impacted me the same way as it would have if I was a 19 or 17-year-old kid. So I think that they were heavily affected in that moment, probably more than G2, which was the target of the stage disruption, right? So I give them a bit of a pass for that. Chengdu was already good with the win over G2. And then here they've just kind of dominated. So when is the next time that we'll see them in a stage?
Yeah, they're going to Dacha now, but that is not, I don't think there's going to be any crowd there.
Yeah, they're in Dallas, and then, but not spring final, obviously.
So
Dallas is the last thing, right? Then.
And Dallas is another like Chengdu. So I suppose with that field, we're looking at FaZe, MOUZ, Vitality, Na'Vi. G2 we don't count because we don't know their fifth. Spirit, finally, thank fucking God. Complexity, who had a pretty good run. VP, who will continue to build. Liquid, who I think are completely fucked. Heroic with degster. It's going to be a tough event, I think.
It's a pretty good tournament.
Yeah, Astralis missing is like kind of like the only indictment from Dallas, just because they've been doing so well that you want to see them continue that path. But outside of that, yeah, it's going to be great.
It should be a good event.
Well, yeah, so I think for MOUZ, like rewatching some of the semifinal and then watching the grand final live, they're just it's exactly the team you expect to see on the stage sometimes, but you don't, in terms of like all of the individuals win some like key 1v1 fights that just make the round so easy. And it's one of those inexplicable and not easily solvable things. It's like, why did Cloud9 never kind of break through, even when they won Dallas and they had some like online success before?
Sure.
They never really converted into being like a stable team that doesn't falter under pressure. Is MOUZ maybe a more well-rounded team? Yes. Do they also have potentially, I would say, Shiro and Exile were fucking sick, individually. I don't know if you can say Torji is Shiro level or something like that, but I think they have a more balanced team. But that's why they're also kind of susceptible to, this. If everyone goes down 5-10%, then they can just look absolutely get washed by a G2 or a FaZe or whatever. And FaZe did destroy them so many times, and they still need to, for some reason, prove that they can beat FaZe. Like they are in some ways lucky that Vitality beat FaZe, because the record is absolutely trash for them there. So I think that's maybe a challenge, and that's a match that they'll probably have in Dallas if they want to win. Like, I don't think they can go around winning Dallas without beating FaZe in the playoffs somewhere, or in the group stage at least.
True. Yeah, we get a fun little culmination to the season, don't we, with London and Dallas as the final two events go into the player break, and then have a couple of changes there. All right. Do we have anything else we want to talk about with EPL?
I mean, I don't think so. I mean, there's a bunch of teams still that we didn't get to talk about a lot, but we'll see them. We'll see them around, I think.
Yeah, look, I don't have to do anything. I don't have to work for 3 weeks straight now. So, if we want to do another episode, we definitely can later in the week or in the weekend. Or
talking about Dallas, we do have a few, I would say a couple dozen tickets still left on sale for the HLTV Confirmed live show.
Where are we doing it in Dallas exactly?
We're doing it in a hotel, not in the main hotel, but another one that's nearby. I think it's Courtyard. So kind of similar setup to the major that we had. And we also have some help from Liquid and their sponsor Coinbase that helped us make it happen. So hopefully we get some players as well from the North American teams. I think it could be a pretty good vibe.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So that's going to be going down on what date exactly?
That is the 31st, I think. It'll be
last day of June
or
May,
30th Thursday.
30th Thursday. Okay. Well, that's good to know. ESL, I won't be at rehearsals. They know now. They've heard. Okay, cool. So if people are going to be there over in Dallas, want to come on over, get some tickets, we'll see you there. Should be a good bit of fun. I'll see if I can get anything from ESL that we can give away and stuff while we're there too. Should be easy to ask for a few things. Okay. Let's jump into talking about BetBoom Dacha, which is going down in 2 days' time. It's not tomorrow. It's Wednesday, right? It's Wednesday. Is that right?
Not tomorrow.
Lost track of. Is it tomorrow?
Yes.
It is 1 day. 14th of May. Oh, yeah, it is tomorrow. Okay, so 14th of May. They'll be playing. Oh, okay. MOUZ versus BetBoom. MOUZ have to play potentially Dust 2 tomorrow. Fuck, bro. Sure. Oh dear.
That's pretty exciting.
Well, that's not fun. They just won, and then they're gonna potentially have to play Dust 2 in a day's time. That's pretty rough, don't you think, Nork? They were just playing a tournament on Overpass. Now they might have to play Dust 2. Do you think that backfires for them a bit?
I think they're fine. You just mix Dust 2. Just go with aim, you know.
Play by spawns.
Yeah, for sure.
Run up mid, molly back.
Just like in FaZe it. Yeah, just like in FaZe it. Always works. Always works.
I played FaZe it today after not playing Counter-Strike for 3 weeks, and it was I've embarrassed myself.
I mean, to be fair, you do need at least. I mean, you can, as long as you learn some of the set utility, like the Xbox smoke and stuff like that, you're going to be kind of fine. But you do need
Xbox smoke out of meta. I'm just going to say that. If you're still throwing Xbox smoke, what are you doing? Yeah, I don't think you need it anymore. I think you've been at Strike. I think you've been Xbox smoke.
What is it? Knock is shaking his head.
You reckon we?
I mean, you're smoking mid doors. Like it's thousands of mid smokes, right? I saw some crazy stuff on Nordout and stuff already. So you just smoke the mid doors, right? Because if
like it's high enough
over it, yeah, it's high enough.
Okay.
So.
There's the thing with that's the thing with the new smoke. If you land this one, it puffs up and it covers the whole door. So then you don't have to worry about that. And then that way you don't have to worry about the
whatever the CS2 iteration of an Xbox smoke these days will be like, if you learn that. But you do need some more protocols that maybe you had to learn like towards the end of Go as well, just because of CTs having like lower control pretty much easily and all that stuff. Like mid control, you have to have some set flashes, you know, for you to take mid, and or like some protocols to go from lower and from middle to take it.
I like that.
And make sure you have the control.
I think that's good.
That's good.
I think like in terms of B rushes now, if you just like if they're playing, you've conditioned them to play heavy long or whatever, and you just rush one guy down on B, and you have like the door smoke and the window smoke from spawn with a rush, like they're fucked. Like retaking that's going to be quite difficult. But that's like more momentum based calling, right? And actually having a good read. But that wasn't something that was available before. You'd be rushing into B. It'd be disjointed timing on the smokes and the potential flashes. But now there's some good versions you can do. Instead of hinge smoke now, it's that one from lower dart that lands on the top of the doors, which is fucking massive. I think that's pretty sick. Because I spent some time looking at, like Nork was saying here, if you go look at Nighthawk, his latest video, in terms of just some of the changes of the way to throw that utility, there's like even... a lot of these tier 2 teams are playing a lot of Dust 2 at the moment in the online events, and they've already got some really sick utility. Like there was one that lands coming out bridge short. It was like a W crouch jump throw, and it bounces and lands on the ledge, and then it gives you like almost full cover to the A side, so you don't have to worry about the guy mid long or car and shit. Okay. And the smokes are quite. You don't have to do the avant-garde smoke anymore, so there's different variations. It's really cool.
Avant-garde smoke is the ledge one, or?
Avant-garde was the one that used to land on the elevator boost box. Yeah, to give you the one way over the top.
Okay, got it.
The bridge smoke still like standard, like for spacing out there. Anyway, yeah, I'm talking about Dust 2. I'm really happy to see it's back now that I've played some of it. Like it's actually cool. I don't mind.
I fucking hate to play it, man. Just because it used to be such a pug map, and now you actually have to care if you're a T like about mid and shit like that. You can't just stroll your way to mid. You just constantly beat CTs there. You're like, fucking hell. I like this map. You just fucking rat out log all the time.
That's it. I think that's still gonna be. That's the thing with spawns playing, right? If you don't get long spawns or long spawns on the right players, I think your T half could be completely fucked. Like, I think that's going to be a big factor. All right, we got to do something new, don't we, Prof?
This is correct. I mean, we did it last week without you.
Well, it's new for me, so you're going to have to hold my hand through this for a little bit. So this is brought to everybody playing at home by 1x. Yeah. Sorry, Lucas. Do it and wait. Okay. This next segment is brought to you by 1xBet. And the segment is called "What are the odds?" Is there like something that comes now?
This is correct.
Okay, but should there be something that appears on the screen, Prof?
There should be at some point.
All right. I bet it's coming.
But essentially, just to explain the segment, should I do it?
Yeah, do it.
Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, let's go.
I'm frozen.
Essentially, the idea is we're gonna have a question every week, and then between us, we're gonna give some percentage how likely we think this is gonna happen, and based on that, we're gonna calculate the odds, and we're gonna put it on Twitter, and our community will vote. And if they predict correctly, we'll take €50 and multiply it by the odds that we created, essentially, and then we put that in a big pot, and at the end of the season, we do a big giveaway. That's it.
Do you want a giveaway?
Yes.
People love giveaways.
So like at the end of the season, we might, if people pick well, and maybe we give some stupid odds, maybe, there's €1,000 and we give away like a, whatever, I want to say Dragon Lore, but Dragon Lore is probably not €1,000 anymore. So what the fuck do I know? But that's it. And for this week, the question is, will Donk win an MVP at BetBoom Dacha?
Lucas has it though. I promise you, he has it. Lucas, whatever you have to do.
He has it.
Lucas, do it now. Lucas,
He doesn't have it.
do it now, Lucas. Do it. Well, wait. There it is.
Oh, here we go.
Wow. Yeah. Without further ado, what are the odds that Donk will win an MVP? That's the wrong one. But
Man, you had some. Okay.
there it is. There it is. That's what we're asking for. Donk grabs another MVP. Okay, Prof. So now we have to put a percentage on this.
Yes, each of us pick a percentage.
Do you want to go first with your explanation, and then we'll follow along because I'm still learning.
Okay, so I feel like it's very likely that Donk wins an MVP here, and that Spirit win. I feel like it's pretty likely, but also it's fucking crazy to give over 50% that one person will win an MVP. That's kind of crazy, but it's also probably realistic. So I'm starting with a good 55% that Donk wins the MVP. That's my
55%.
Yes.
Okay, that seems pretty. Okay, I see your logic. I see what you're going for here. Now,
Out of
just
8 teams, so like 40 players.
Yes. Okay. So this is a GSL best of 3 format, single elimination best of 3 playoffs, with the grand final being a best of 5. That's for everybody playing at home. So 4 teams go through for semifinals and grand finals. The 8 teams in attendance: EPL champs for season 19, MOUZ, Virtus Pro, still with the somewhat recent addition of Electronic, the ever struggling Falcons, BetBoom, who replaced Cloud9, I believe, Aurora, MIBR, Heroic, and Spirit. So yeah, BetBoom are a replacement team. Aurora through the European qualifier, and MIBR are through the South American qualifier. Okay, so yeah, all right. Striker, do you want to go next? Because I'm still learning. Give me your percentage.
It's fortunate that this is not actual betting or whatever, because I actually have influence over the final decision. You know. So
Oh shit! Okay.
For me, it's like, am I like a conflict of interest here? Like, what should I do in this situation? You know. But I would say, like, I like Prof's logic just because like just one. It's not even just that, like, you're banking on Spirit at least making the final, because let's say like nobody's ever made an MVP outside of the final. It's not impossible, by the way, for people who have said that. Like, we have considered like Donk and Katowice, you know, like if he had lost in the semi and done what he did and somehow lost even with that kind of a performance, there was a world where he would have gotten like a semi MVP, you know? So like, that's not actually impossible. But let's say, you know, historically it's never happened. So you're banking on one team to make it to the final and that player to actually be the best in his team. It's still Donk. He's going to be the best in his team, but you know, Shiro has been pretty competitive throughout at least a lot of the matches that they played. He was even better than Donk in some of them. So it's like, yeah, anything above 50% seems excessive. And with that being said, I will give him 60%.
Okay. All right. So going against the own advice, I like it. Perfect. Nork, what do you reckon?
All right, so let's think realistically, all right? So they're in a group with Heroic, MIBR, Aurora. I think Donk will just farm all of them. Like, there's no chance for the enemy team. I think Spirit will just own. So I think he will farm the group stage.
Okay.
He will get a high rating. And then he will probably play, what, realistically, MOUZ or VP, right? I would say.
Yeah.
Like, in my opinion, I will go even higher. I'm going 75.
Holy shit.
I'm going 75. I trust Donk. I trust Spirit.
Okay. So, Prof, I like that Nork's gone audacious, because I was going to go audacious as well.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any pros or cons of going like buck wild?
So let's say you go like whatever, not 80%.
Yeah.
Then we get the average, and the average. So the result is going to be like, we're giving like 75% that Donk wins the MVP, which means he's a pretty high favorite. So essentially, if the crowd says it's not going to be him and it's not him, they're going to win a shit ton.
What, from this one thing?
Yeah.
So the crowd is incentivized to go against us.
That
In this case, I mean, if we're going for a massive favorite, then yes.
You should just pick how you feel. That's how it works.
What are you feeling, Shad?
Don't
Be
try to
honest.
play the game. Just predict. Like, don't try to play it. Play this.
You also can't predict what the audience will select. So
That's true. Okay, so they're the favorites in this tournament. I feel like that's a bit of MOUZ. Nah, fuck it. They're favorites in this tournament. I would say.
With Dust, I think with the Dust 2 kind of component, I think there's a good assumption that Spirit will
I feel
be
like
favorites.
they'll also these guys also fucking love Dust 2. I feel
Yes.
like Magix loves Dust 2, Shiro loves Dust 2, a Donk will love Dust 2.
I want to know in their team who's going to anchor long and who's going to anchor B. Is it Magix B and Zontix long?
Magix has been B historically, no? I'm pretty sure.
I
Or
think
was he
player.
Pit always?
Yeah, I
He
think
was
it
a
was
pit
long.
player.
Was he
Okay.
Pit?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Magix Pit, Zontix B. And
That's
then Donk
very natural
rotator,
fields.
Chopper second B player. Or is Chopper rotate? Oh, surely Donk's the A rifler rotating. Surely.
I feel
Must
like
be.
Donk just goes wherever they think there's going to be action.
Donk should be everywhere. And Shiro will be everywhere as well. All right. Can I do the same percentage as someone else?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, so I'm with Nork. I want to go I think a good 75%. Like I
Okay.
think they haven't been playing. He's hungry. He wants to come in, farm him up. It's only an 8-team event. This is all they've been focused on. They haven't had any roster changes. They've just been grinding, right? And they're going to come in here and have a bit of a statement. And there's a reason that they didn't go to Pro League. I don't know what it is, but maybe it was to win this event. So I'm going to go with 75%.
Striker said visas. So
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
there you go. That makes sense. All right. Yeah, I think I'm okay with that. Lucas, are you okay with that?
yeah, what are the results? Okay, so now we have the odds calculated and the winning. So 1.55, that Donk will win the MVP, and if that's voted and that's correct, so 70 euros, 76, and then the other case 150 euros into the pot. So we'll see very soon what the result is.
Damn, I'm learning a lot today. Okay. All right.
And last
66
year
is 152.
seems like it.
Okay.
This is a automatic calculator, and it's made by Lucas, so it can be. It's perfection. It can't be wrong. But we also did last time. Our thing was Falcons. Will they make playoffs?
Yes.
Until the end of the season. So if they make playoffs, that's the.
What did you guys go with? No. What
I
percentage?
forgot actually what the result was. I can check that.
We were
while
kind
you
of
do-
somewhere in the middle, I think, ish.
Somewhere in the middle.
While you do some housekeeping, you do housekeeping. I can check that.
I'm doing housekeeping.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, I can do some. I've already cleaned my house today. All right. So we mentioned the teams who are going to be playing at BetBoom Dacha, and I think we all think that Spirit are going to win. So I'm trying to think what else we could even possibly talk about regarding this event that'd be exciting. I think getting to see Heroic debut with degster, right? That's what's going to be happening there. Falcons just ties into the conversation you just having. What did we think of BetBoom? What's going on
About them
with
attending
BetBoom?
it, or
No. Well, no, that doesn't bother me. What do we make of the team?
I mean, I like Magnoez. He's pretty cool.
Yes,
I like
other than
the
that,
addition is like massive, like pretty big improvement over.
They
Dennis,
should be
so
better than
that
they
worked.
are, in my opinion. Though, why
Yeah.
are they not better than they are? Is it because of the way they play the game? I don't think they play like a rounded style. I think they play like too fast. Like I don't know. They don't seem like they're playing meta Counter-Strike.
I fucking watched some of their games in Pro League and I forgot all of them. Like legit, I did so long ago now that I don't remember anything.
came
Even though
third
it's
in
like a
their
week
group.
ago.
And then
I
they
know.
celebrated that they drew FlyQuest and they lost. LOL.
Yeah, that's the game I
That was
saw.
pretty funny.
That was pretty funny. Yeah, there was a lot of back and forth about that.
Good entertainment though. That's what
Yeah.
we're looking for. They
Yeah,
gave us
I
something
can't
to get
remember. I
behind.
watched same as Striker. I watched a bit of BetBoom, and I was very disappointed with the FlyQuest result. I thought that was like, since they made playoffs, this was like a chance for them to do a bit more, but no. So
I think Zorti has been missing kind of like compared to my expectations. Like he was, especially which was it Blast Major or something that he had a great.
Yeah.
It was Blast Major.
I remember
That he
Maniac
got
farming
grades
fantasy.
with fours, I think, right? He was back
Yeah.
then. I remember from there, I was like, okay, like this guy goes to another team that can actually compete for deeper runs. Like that's going to be great. And it feels like he hasn't really found himself in BetBoom completely. Haven't really seen an event from him like that again. So still waiting for him to turn up.
Okay. All right, Nork. You think Spirit are going to win this event?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Who's going to come second then? I guess that's maybe more exciting. Do we just also think it's going to be MOUZ who comes second, or do we think they're going to be having the EPL hangover?
I would think the hangover, to be honest.
Yeah.
But who's gonna like? The question is like, who's gonna beat them? Because
VP. They should still make it out of groups.
You think?
Well, I think this is where they'd get fucked, though, right? Like if they come second in group,
I could see Heroic beating MOUZ in like semis or whatever. Like if they end up meeting each other, like MOUZ win their group, they play Heroic in the semis, and they could lose to them. To be honest, like whatever honeymoon period, degster fucking farms them first event in CS2. I don't know. I can imagine a world. Just because of the Dust 2 thing as well, they're going to be on the back foot preparation-wise. So from that perspective, I feel like that could happen.
When was the last time MOUZ and VP played? I'm trying to have a look at that right now.
I mean, it could still be MOUZ Falcons, to be fair. Like, do we really think that VP is going to beat Falcons for sure?
I don't know. Are we putting any stock in Falcons?
I don't know. I don't know what to think about Falcons, to be honest, still.
Like, I'm not saying they can't get some dubs, but they haven't. So,
but VP looked a little bit rough. Like they ended up like having that miraculous comeback against Mongols, but realistically they should have lost that game.
Was that 11-2 scoreline?
And like they looked really rough in the groups. I actually don't think I watched either of their games in the playoffs, but like during the groups I was really thinking that it's just kind of like a mishmash of styles, and they haven't really figured out like how to put together kind of electronics aggression and the rest of the team and his ideas, because like clearly he's calling.
But they're boot camping right now, I think.
Calling. Yeah, but they haven't had a lot of time to practice in between. Like they have a few days here and there between events, but they have a pretty busy schedule. So it's not like they're gonna figure shit out on the road, you know. So
I feel
like
a good Dust 2 team.
Yeah, they like the Dust 2 before.
No one's more annoying than James holding rotations with the AWP at mid doors for fucking 45 seconds, is there not?
True. Can relate.
Okay, now that guy, he's unrelenting doing that shit. You'd have to save utility for late round so you could rotate across mid doors. Otherwise, James sitting there with a fucking AWP, like fuck.
Oh.
All right. Have we come to the conclusion? Do we think?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Good.
Well, Nork, what do you want to say this evening, mate? You got anything? You know, because this stuff with Apeks, you seemed pretty like amicable about it. Like it was like, yeah, things just weren't working. Is that where you want to leave it?
I mean, yeah, I have nothing bad against Apeks as an organization. I mean, it was a good time, ups and downs, right? A lot of ups, a lot of downs. I feel like this Paris run was still magical. We'll always remember that. It was a good time, a few final appearances. Just good memories of all and good teammates across the road. It was a lot of changes, I felt like, over those 2.5 years I was there.
So other than Jacob, because you're moving on with him, who was was there another name that you really enjoyed playing with the most on that team?
I don't know. I think Sense, really funny and great guy for sure. He still needs a few years to get to a little bit better level when it comes to calling and his individual skill, but for sure a great guy and one of the best teammates you can have.
Do you think he'll continue as an in-game leader?
Most likely, I would say so.
Okay.
I believe him.
Okay, well that's nice. That's a nice thing to hear for sure. Okay, and looking forward with Bleed, as you said, practice has started. You got some online officials kicking off shortly, and then an event in Mongolia. Not too much time from now, so I'm sure you got some things you want to do before you have to get up and get back into practice tomorrow. So thank you for joining us here this evening. Is there anything else you want to say hi to the fans, anything like that, or?
Thank you for watching. That's all.
Sweet.
All right. That.
Perfect.
And thank you guys.
Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for joining us this evening. All right, everybody playing at home, thank you for tuning in to another episode of HLTV Confirmed. Things will be a little bit more regular now up until Dallas. And then we obviously have the in-person event over there. We've tweeted some stuff out. You guys can go and find that. Shout out to the sponsors, 1xBet and TradeIt.gg. We'll talk between ourselves, see when we can potentially do another episode, because there's always a lot to talk about in the Counter-Strike world. So we apologize if we didn't talk about your favorite team or your least favorite team or player or whatever. There's always so much to talk about in Counter-Strike, and we're never going to get it all. So thank you for watching, and we'll be back with another episode of HLTV Confirmed later. Good night.
Are you tired of your boring old skins? Head to Trade It and trade them for exciting new ones within seconds. With 24/7 support, massive inventory, free giveaways, and low fees. Trade It is the highest rated trading platform in the market. What are you waiting for? Start trading today for a $5 bonus, only on Trade It.
The world is changing quickly. Shoot it.
The world is changing, but one thing remains the same. Victories with 1xbet.
Since the dawn of CSGO, we have been there. Observers of all that competition can reveal. Elation, fear, triumph and heartache reach out from every frame. From the small studios and conference rooms to the epic arenas, the feeling is still the same. We live and breathe this game. This was CSGO Through the Lens. Buy now at HLTV.org/shop.